chess, whatever. There's no way this is the guy that played the alien gambit against me. There's no possible way. Okay, he goes for the Tartakower, a far more principled approach, where the plans for black are pretty straightforward. You put the bishop here, you castle, you bring the rook over to the open file, you pin this knight if the bishop doesn't come out. If the bishop does come out, you try and go here if his bishop goes like here. So I'll show you. Very, very plain and simple development plans for black. And I mean, I guess for white, it's pretty much a simple setup. And so because everybody always asks, like I said, this pin accomplishes nothing, so we put the bishop here to the more active square. I think actually scooting the rook over is the computer best line, but it's probably all interchangeable. The knight goes here and zigzags with the plan of destiny, the spiritual journey to the center. Now, we are a little bit afraid about the queen coming in, so we're going to step back, where if he captures, we have... Oh, hello, and welcome back, and thank you so much for clicking on my video, or just watching it on YouTube Lives. What we are going to be doing in today's episode is absolutely destroying this 1941. Like always, we take a quick gander, and we see that I've actually played this opponent before. Let's make the first move before he cancels. I've actually played him before, and so once you reach the rating of around 2000, 1900, you actually start facing the same opponents more than one time. Definitely in bullet, because I guess there's, you play chess, whatever. There's no way this is the guy that played the alien gambit against me. There's no possible way. Okay, he goes for the Tartakower, a far more principled approach, where the plans for black are pretty straightforward. You put the bishop here, you castle, you bring the rook over to the open file, you pin this knight if the bishop doesn't come out. If the bishop does come out, you try and go here if his bishop goes like here. So I'll show you. Very, very plain and simple development plans for black. And I mean, I guess for white, it's pretty much a simple setup. And so because everybody always asks, like I said, this pin accomplishes nothing, so we put the bishop here to the more active square. I think actually scooting the rook over is the computer best line, but it's probably all interchangeable. The knight goes here and zigzags with the plan of destiny, the spiritual journey to the center. Now, we are a little bit afraid about the queen coming in, so we're going to step back, where if he captures, we have a beautiful pawn cube, which only really happens in this structure. How often do you see a pawn cube? It's quite rare. Now, our opponent is immediately going for the jugular. And I think we got to play something like this. This guy is pinned. He could castle. He could step up with the queen, but we're going to just take. That gets some pawns in the middle. Hard to say. He wants to make a little run. Then generally what you want to do is, if you can make moves, like this is pretty forcing, but what is the real future of my queen after he just defends with the rook or the queen or something such as that? If I step over here, then my queen is kind of condemned to this side of the board, because it's going to be hard to like participate over here if he tries to disrupt my pawn cube. And so really this, or this. Those are the four moves. I think this is the best. This is probably second best. Maybe you just get brave and you bring the knight and say, screw it. Okay, so because the knight is actually going to be going this way, I say we develop the queen with tempo on this, and then we bring the knight. Instead of putting my queen here on b6, now we have a square for my knight to go. He could just push. That's well within the realm of possibilities. Okay, well, let's just stick to our guns. The whole plan was to do the spiritual journey zigzag over here. We can do this. It just seems like a powerful move. We're immediately threatening this. And we're just saying, who is attacking who in this position? Your pawns have not yet arrived, and it's really 2 pawns versus 4. So to crash through on this is going to be a little bit challenging for our opponent. If the king steps back, we have another tempo winning move. We step forward, applying pressure to this fork. We are like the king can never step forward, or he walks into that check. If he steps here, which actually makes the most amount of sense, what do we say about this? He could push, but then we capture. You got to be careful in these positions not to get too gosh darn greedy. Because I'm feeling a little greedy right now. I want to win something. Bro, his queen. His king is in the middle of the board. It can't be good. If I step back, almost certainly he just goes for this pawn push. We trade the queens. The king steps up defending everything. What about this? I'm liking the idea of bringing my rook here and then push. I'm also kind of liking the idea of just push immediately. If he pushes here, we go for this. Like if he pushes here, we just go in. You know what? Just lining our rook up facing the queen can't be a bad move. We put the rooks in the middle of the board. This one is staring at some really important stuff if these guys decide to move at some point. So I wasn't really sure what forward attacking move. So that was my last undeveloped piece. I basically just used the rule of my least active piece. This rook was my worst piece, not doing anything. And now he's like, you know, he's got prospects. Something like this, I just am not even convinced. Like, what are you going to really do after that? I could just push forward. And, like, yes, you can push, but I can push forward. You can push forward, but I step over. And then I've just got my zigzag block of pawns over here. This walks into this. And then I'm attacking. Like, if I play this, you would have to defend like so. In that position, do I push forward? Defending the knight? Challenging this? Where if we take, and his knight can't actually immediately even get to this side of the board. This knight is condemned to be an attacking knight. This knight is attacking my king. This is not a defensive knight. Just like my queen is an attacking queen. Actually, never mind. I can slide all the way back here. That is just the power of the queen. Okay, so he does attack. I really like this move. It just seems right. It just seems right. Don't know how else to explain that. He then steps up. I push. He just pushes forward. I sacrifice here. I think this, push. Where if he pushes forward, I sacrifice the knight. If you take with the pawn, you're... That doesn't work. What am I talking about? Boom, boom, push. We sacrifice the knight. The pawn takes. I can't take. He can just take. This doesn't work. He pushes forward. What about this? Crazy move like this. This is one of these moments. We're playing this so that I'm taking my foot off the gas. I think that if there was an attack, I missed out on it. I don't see it. We can still try and shred open the position, but I'm really afraid of just pushing this pawn forward because he just pushes forward. And, like, realistically, what am I doing there? Sacrifice the rook? It doesn't work. I need this pawn here defending this square. And he can just go for this. He's really going for the run. He is really going for the run. Does this make any sense? Let's not even calculate it. Let's just play it. Straight up. Dude, he has not decided what he wants to do with this king. This rook still has not done anything because he is trying to aid in this pawn push. Which, there might be something there. My attack has somewhat fizzled out. Okay. What does this do? I can play this. What if I push? Push here. And just try and make an open file on this side of the board. I push this. He goes in for the queen trade. We hit him with this brutal fork. So this doesn't work because of the fork. The king is now in forking distance of the knight. This is also just a good square for my knight. Pushing doesn't work. I just bulldoze through. Stepping up really might be the best thing, because then even if I get this open file, it's like, cool, so what? What are we doing with that open file? It doesn't really do a whole lot. But the knight stepping back here seems like just a beautiful square for my knight. And please forgive me. If you guys saw, if there was something there and I didn't see it, please forgive me. Now I'm down a minute and a half on the clock. We still have an entire game of chess yet left to play. I didn't even really consider take. Then I take. Then I bring a rook and I'm just trying to apply pressure to this, like with everything in my position. He'd probably go for the pawn push at that point. This pawn push doesn't seem too incredibly amazing. And now my knight is only defended by my queen. So, boom, boom. What am I talking about? I could just take. What am I talking about? Go ahead and take a moment. Think about this, my opponent. And if you're watching this on YouTube live in the future, I can't really show you guys incredibly well. Super tiny right there. I'll just read it to you. My ratings are 2010 in bullet, 1928 in blitz, 2032 in rapid. I've been playing chess consistently for 4 years. 3.5, 4 years is what we're looking at. I played a little bit when I was a kid, but then I forgot about chess. For more like 15 years, I forgot about chess. I think he's kind of just flabbergasted at, like, what are we supposed to do here as well? Like, this is quite powerful. Arguably, my knight is better situated than his. The only thing I don't like about this is this pawn push comes in quite quickly, and I don't want to push this pawn because we can't allow his knight here. Attacking this, and he might just give up a pawn. Give up the pawn. Okay, so he takes. Fairly certain we just take with the queen. No. He's got this still. This doesn't work. But I'm really ready to just play this. But, oh my goodness, I could play this. Like, if he plays this right here, this attack doesn't work. I've got 3 minutes. Let me take a deep breath. Can I sacrifice? Here, if he takes with the queen, I hit him with this. He has to take, then I take. And then I gave up. Let's not be ridiculous. I don't think that works. He just takes with the queen. I hit him with a check. The rook takes. I take with my queen. And he could just challenge something like this, where there's no, like, winning the rook at the end. I think we play this. Say he pushes. Say he pushes. Like, I can replace my front pawns like my third rank pawns with my second rank pawns. So like if he plays this, I don't need to capture. And if he captures, cool. I'm still covering these two really crucial squares. If he pushes this, I push forward. So yeah, I don't need to capture there. Now is trading down into an endgame what we're supposed to do. This check is an option at the end. I'm also looking at this at the end. So I think just this makes sense. We're take, 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 take. For one I can take with check. He'll step up and attack my rook. I take your rook, you take my... Let's just play this. I'm not convinced that it's great, but I've got 1 minute and 48 seconds. I want to go up a pawn. Grabbed a pawn on the side of the board. He can also just make pass pawns over here. Now, do I rush? Like, he has to trade. Well, like, what am I talking about? Let me think. He takes... I'm going to take back. I can just take first, no? I don't know if we care about this. I take... If he takes with the king, I hit him with the check. You're going somewhere. I take this rook. You step up, I just take. Right? You take with the rook. I can get this check. I can also get this check. I think that's it. Just check. I'm winning a pawn. This... You have to block. I take, you take, then I take, but it's not with check. I'm threatening the knight. Yeah. You have to block with the rook, because if you step forward, I'm just taking this. So you have to block. I take, you take, I take. I'm threatening the knight. What about this? What about this? Check. You kind of have to play this. We also have this. Oh dear lord. This... Am I making it too complicated? Okay, let's not... Like, I know there was probably something there. Grabbing this, attacking the knight. He gets in, this is held. We attack the knight this way. He steps in attacking this. For one, I can just grab this guy. But let's be nice and simple. I've got this to win this. Oh my god. This dude is undefended, which makes me very, very squeamish. Let's give a check. He doesn't... He resigns. Because he was going to lose this pawn. You're either trading your rooks, which you don't want to do, or you're giving up a pawn, which you don't want to do. I am guaranteed there is something there. And my attacking motif in chess is just not as strong as it should be. So please forgive me for that. I really gave it everything I've got. We castled essentially opposite. Let's check with the computer. I know I missed something. But you know what? I ended the game with like 10 seconds on the clock. So I really did give it my best shot at trying to find whatever it was. If you saw it, please just put it in the comments. We're going to switch scenes real quickly. Stay tuned for the analysis. We're going to do this live in the future. I'm going to just read to you the position. Okay? So we have the Tartakower. Boom, boom, boom. Castle. I knew it, that putting the rook here is the computer best line, but it's more or less interchangeable. We end up to the same... it's transpositional. This thing is loading just a little bit. Stepping back is not the best. It is the best move. Okay, they're equal, whatever. I like doing it just because we get a pawn cube. Okay? Everything, it's completely zeros at this position. I do play the best move stepping in with the bishop. Then trading is the best move. I read in the, I was like, what do I play? The queen Queen e7 is the most forcing, but I guess bringing the knight is just like the most flexible, because then I can decide what I'm doing with my queen after. Whatever. Let's see the difference. Minus 1.1 versus minus 0.9. Okay, so we're talking about 1/5 of a pawn difference in that move. Okay, we get the knight over. Boom, best move. We slide into the position, getting freaky with the queen over here. Then we get freaky with the knight. Threat after threat. Oh my god, so basic. Sacrifice for the freaking pawn because you win this with a fork. And you're getting out because you ate the pawn that covers the escaping square for the knight. Okay. Straight up just grab the pawn. If he grabs back, we hit him with the fork. He steps up. We hit here. Goes here, and we can launch a pawn to... We're getting out. We're getting out. The whole reason we wouldn't be able to get out is this. I didn't even consider that for a second. What did I play instead? Big blunder. I spent over a minute, okay? I really was trying to figure out... I knew there was something there. I knew there was something there. I was considering bringing the queen back to apply pressure to both at once. I considered putting the rook up here. I considered sacrificing the knight either way. I considered just launching the pawn. And ultimately, I couldn't decide what to do, so I just slid the rook over. Okay, we bring the knight in. Correct idea. Launch the pawn. Correct idea. Oh, I launched the wrong pawn. Whatever. Still complete zeros. He runs with the king. Launching the other pawn is the right idea. Launching the pawn. All right, so I did play decently accurate at this point. We sacrifice the knight because you can't take because it's defended by the queen. Duh. If you step over, then I'm going for this because you can't take back because of this pin. Or I just straight up grab this pawn on this side of the board and say, my knight's going to live here forever. I'm close to getting a pass pawn on this side of the board. Okay. Hard to see. I did not even consider playing this move. It just looked too risky. You should always look for checks, captures, attacks. I didn't consider this at all. I simply spent half a second. Never mind. I spent 5 seconds and took this. Plain and simple, we just double up on the weakness in the position. And then I take with the queen just because I know I'm winning a pawn and he doesn't take back. I suppose we could have played this. And if he steps up, I'm grabbing this rook. And if he blocks here, I hit him with another check. You got to step up. I'm hitting you with another check. Oh, I could have gotten in and destroyed. Gave the wrong check. I gave the trading the queen's check. Okay, but still winning. We give this check. And in this position also, I saw this, but I saw he was going to step forward and attack. Never mind, this is the best move. Okay, so I did play it. He covers. And again, I'm supposed to play this. But at this one, I had 53 seconds. So what's the winning continuation here? Here, here. Just defend? No. Trading off the rooks made way more sense from a human standpoint. Never in a million years am I just trying to win a pawn positionally. So we win this. The rook, the knight gets in, but we get to attack him. He jumps back. We step up with the king defending the pawn that the knight is attacking. And this is more or less just a straightforward endgame. I guess there's a lot of things that I can do here. Pushing is probably fine. Taking is probably fine. Going for the pawn immediately is fine. I chose to take because I saw that there was no immediate check. So, like, yes, he gets in, but there's no check. And my pawn cube has been halved. Okay? And then in this, we give the check. We win the pawn. He steps over here, defended square. I guess I could have just jumped over with the knight, where if he takes. Actually, never mind that pass pawn. You still got to be careful in these endgames. We give the check, and we step back. And right here, he's basically faced with the dilemma of, do I take the rook, or do I keep the rook, but I for sure lose this pawn? It's hard to do either one. After that, you are essentially just really lost. Because once you lose this pawn, then you've got, like you're so screwed. You're so screwed if you lose one more pawn. This pawn is very important. Because these pawns have a good structure. These ones don't. So these ones will march up the board together. Thank you so much for watching my video. I love you. Please subscribe. If you're watching this, there's another video that will pop up here if you want to watch it. Let's check the accuracy. How accurate do you think that game was? I guess my guess is like 91%. Let's see. 86. Okay, so I was like, 5% off, but still pretty decent. Thank you so much. If you made it this far, subscribe. You're the best. I'm going to play some more chess. Goodbye. Oh, hello, and welcome back, and thank you so much for clicking on my video. In today's episode, we're going to be playing a 10-minute rapid game on chess.com, where the stakes are high. Today, I'm rated 18, 28, We're facing a 1931. I wasted 6 seconds out of the opening because I'm yapping. And we're going into the bishop's opening in my least favorite line. But you know what? I've been doing a little bit of studying in the lab, and if he decides to capture, which he did not do, so I will not go into incredible detail about what would happen in that opening. Now we're going to push this pawn. I like to... I have all of this memorized, but I understand that for some people newer at chess, maybe I should be explaining some of this stuff. So what we're worried about here is losing our light square bishop. So I think we're just going to go for his dark square bishop with the same mechanics he can go for our light square bishop. Now this move right here looks fancy. I believe that we just chased the bishop. We just chased this bishop around. And now we have a weird pawn structure on this side of the board, but we successfully got rid of one of his bishops. So I'm going to call that a dub. Now, obviously, we're going to be castling this way. Now, if I take, he's going to have an open file when he castles. I don't really assume he's going to be castling this way. Now, we simply can't let him capture and ruin my pawn structure like this and hang this pawn in the middle. So I believe we're going to do a little tiny step back. And if he captures, I take. But none of that happened. We're just going to castle. A lot of what chess is honestly calculating stuff that never happens and never is going to happen. Now, I would really love to go for this pawn push, but this cheeky little knight is definitely attacking my pawn in the center of the board. I would also like to go for this pawn break, but my knight is in the way. So a way that I can kind of make all of it happen is, you know what, let's just trade for no real reason. That probably wasn't a good trade, but I like the idea of trading these knights and keeping my bishop versus knight and just trying to go into an endgame where I'm doing all right. We're going to scoot the queen up just a tad little bit. Man, and if he goes for this, do we really just have to capture? We're kind of running out of squares for my knight as well. Like, I don't have any forward momentum at all, and I still have not accomplished pushing this pawn in the center, which is what I want to do because he is probably just going to push his pawn in the center. So maybe even like launching over here. This is the part of the game where you actually got to come up with a halfway decent plan. I mean, stepping over here to go like this does not seem too promising. And then this is defended by my rook, so potentially I could like bring my... You know what? I know that I just put the queen here, but we're going to just slide over. That kind of allowed his knight to get in. Man, he is just fighting for this square in the center. Or not in the center, but in front of my king. And I don't think we're going to allow that to happen. I just don't think we're going to allow that to happen. How are we going to not allow that to happen? You know what? I'm sensing a little bit of stuff happening over here. So maybe bringing my king up so my rooks can access the defense of all of this. But I have completely given up on the idea of saving this bishop. I'm almost guaranteed I'm just going to sacrifice. Not sacrifice, but I'm going to capture whatever comes to this square. And I'm just unsure what is the correct plan. I'm literally just making some waiting moves. Does pushing in the center accomplish anything for me? He doesn't even need to take. But let's just do it. Let's just do it. So he's coming in. Man, he's attacking a lot of squares. I think that just taking it is not the greatest idea. Whoa. So we're going to just step up. He has like slowly just started bringing every single piece to where my king is, and my pieces are not like the best defensive pieces over here. The reason I'm bringing the king up like this is so I can push this pawn and the knight can't take. But this pawn, my g2 pawn, is doing a very important job of defending this knight. If you take a gander, that's the only thing defending my knight. Bro, are you dead serious right now? Are you dead serious? I think I can win this pawn. I mean, this is obviously very scary. Bringing the rook. Can I just take that? I mean, it gets his queen in here. We're just going to go for this. We can't push this because this is undefended. But I could just kill the knight and then his rook gets in. Then I play this. Ooh. like capture, capture. This just wins on the spot. So you have to capture back with your queen. So boom, boom. You have to do that. Then I can push forward. This is defended. Maybe eliminating this knight is actually in my best interest. Because I don't think there's really a beautiful way for me to defend this. Like, I can't push forward because he just checkmates me, essentially. I'm just stepping back and then getting checkmated here. So we're just clearing the position, bro. Did that walk just into a simple fork? Am I ridiculous? Or did that just walk into a fork? 5 minutes on the clock? Dude is playing quite quickly. I feel like that was a very important move, and he just blitzed it out. Sometimes when you got 10 minutes, bro, you can just yap. Bro, I got 5 minutes. I am very confident in my bullet playing skills. Okay, so I push forward. You hit me with... Like, you can grab this, but, bro, I'm grabbing your queen. You have to do something with the queen. And so this is going to really weaken my king. But I'm grabbing a rook, bro. I mean, what, no need to think about it for a million years. Like, I'm definitely grabbing that. He hits me with a check. We go here. He hits me with another check. I step back. Got a lot of options here for moves. So this just walks into this. So I think we want to go here, here. Then we step back because there's no more good checks. So we're going for this, hoping he hits us here, then only, and then we step back to this corner square so he doesn't have this check. Because we got to be a little bit cautious about completely getting... Okay, so obviously going here just walks into this. So we're going to step to the corner. He's probably going to attack this pawn. But in that amount of time, I can step forward with the queen defending laterally across the entire rank. There's also this. What's the most important thing here? Stepping forward seems to make a lot of sense. Also stepping over, attacking the queen. Essentially, we just have to not get checkmated, and we're going to win. So, how are we going to do that? I mean, if we play this, it takes away the rook's infiltration ideas. We're going to just go ahead and play that. So he's got this with his rook, but we could maybe step forward. Maybe we just sacrifice a pawn at this point. He wants to come in, obviously, with the rook. That was the whole idea. If we step forward, we just walk into this and step back, and he comes back. So that's not going to work. Pushing forward walks into this check where I just step over, and he can just get a draw. So what if we go here? We allow this. Oh, bro, did I completely... We step in. Hear me out. You step forward. Did I completely just choke this? What if I push here? Does that give me time? I step in. If you take with the rook, I think this is the move. We throw this forward. Now your rook arriving here is not an option, which made me lose the game. So I'm pretty sure that this is like a pawn sacrifice. Or, you know, like if his pawn takes, he gets in the way of the rook being able to get into my position. And that's the only way that I'm losing here. Okay. We solved one problem. Bringing this other rook. Okay, so I'm fairly certain that just going here and just defending this and attacking the queen all in one foul swoop, we need to get this other rook into the action. So stepping over with tempo on the queen, then bringing the other rook over here, seems to make a fair amount of sense. Not sure what that move really did. I can also just like attack the queen. I mean, is it ridiculous to play like this? We play this. Right. I mean, opening up the position. I don't think that I hate it. Closing the position. Let's just take. Not really sure what was supposed to be played there, but now I have this. And then I have this. And bro, I have an extra rook, so as long as I'm not a retard, I'm going to be able to figure this out. Sorry for saying that word if you guys don't like it. I like the idea of just getting active. We can also threaten this. Ooh. We step in, threatening this, supporting this. We can also pin here. This is also threatening this. We're stepping into the position. We're threatening this. I'm not really sure that that's like the most important thing in the world, but this square has been covered twice, but we've got this open file. So he steps over. Probably actually a really decent move right there. And just calm, cool, and collected, we're playing like this. All right, I really need to start playing a little bit faster. We're going like this. He can't really come in. We're stepping and attacking the queen. What are you going to do about this checkmate, bro? The answer is you're going to hang it in one move. So, that's how you beat a 1900 on chess.com. You let them attack you a little bit, and then they just crumble under the weight of their own. They made the game complicated, bro. I didn't even make the game complicated. They did. And then they simply walked into a fork from a more or less crushing position. Like if we go back to this, super standard opening. All of this is nonsense, but I got the dark square bishop, and I did all of that work just to trade my dark square bishop later. Now, in this position right here, he needed to take with the queen. How long did he spend on this move? 2 seconds, bro. This was the most important position in the entire game, and he played it in 2 seconds and loses the game. Bro had 9 minutes. He spent 1 minute and 3 seconds out of a 10-minute game. And that is just not how you play a rapid game of chess, bro. If you want to play a 1-minute game of chess, you know what I mean? All of the time was spent on me yapping. And then here, this was a crucial moment, deciding what to do. This supports the infiltration of my position, and not only that, it cuts off the defense of this. And once the rook arrives, it attacks and defends, and I'm just getting checkmated here. Like, if he plays this move, I mean, I essentially take, and then I'm still actually probably doing quite all right. No, I'm not, because it's check, and he wins this pawn, and then he can... I got 2 rooks for the queen, but let's check with the computer. How accurate was that? I don't know. I feel pretty good about it, so let's go check it and see how it was. And here we are in the analysis, and I cannot believe that I took a 1950, whatever this guy's rating was, 1926. Bro, I took him down without even breaking a sweat. I didn't even have to think very hard in that position. He definitely had an attack, and there was a sacrifice that neither of us really considered. I guess I thought about like the prospects of it happening in some positions, but I didn't actually calculate anything because I was just confident in my play. Take a look at this graph. We destroyed this dude. We destroyed. There was never a moment. Just this one moment of the sacrifice that neither of us saw. Whenever you see a big spike like this, that means, oh no, you blundered, but it must have been a complicated blunder because neither of us saw it. So ultimately, if it goes from here and then 2 seconds later, it's right here, it never happened. Pretend like it never happened. This is different, where there's a spike and it does not come back down. It stays up. Those are real blunders, where they were captured by one side. And so... one blunder in my position, 90% accurate, don't hate it, and our opponent 3 blunders, we know what some of those were, and so let's just hop into it. Now, the position that I was alluding to in the center, or in the beginning, not in the center, was this capture right here. I was kind of hoping to play this because I've never actually played it. What I would normally do is capture, the pawn comes, you step back, he gets the knight, you take here, and you have a worse position. Now, why would I go into that line and have a worse position? Because I didn't study openings, and that's just what would happen, okay? And then I became comfortable with it, and I let it happen too many times. The alternative to that is you see the knight come out, and you simply push the pawn, and you defend all of those sacrifice ideas, and then and only then do you bring the knight. But what I wanted to try this game was none of the above. We bring the knight, you capture, and I bring out the queen. where you have to step back to this really strange square. We go ahead and capture, and we go into an equal position. You can, oh, he's going to capture, and you either go back here or here. Either are pretty much fine. This one's more attacky, this one's more defendy, and so I wanted to try this position, okay? Or you can just be principled and none of the above. None of the above. You push the pawn, no sacrifices, no crazy stuff. You develop another piece. That's all we're doing, playing simple chess. Now, I push this pawn because I don't want to get hit with a pin where this knight jumps in, attacking all of that stuff. So the simple pawn push defends a lot of ideas getting into my position. At the drawback of it's a hook. So if he launches his pawn all the way forward, I'm confronted with a decision, okay? So this move, it gives a place for your bishop. It defends the knight and the bishop from arriving to this g4 square, but you get a hook, okay? So it's got like 3 good things, 1 really bad thing. So it's hard to say it's a okay move. Those are the good and the bad. Now, we just immediately go for this dark square bishop. He can try and run away, but ultimately I'm just going to chase him around with pawns until I capture him, okay? Now, I could have waited here, and this would have been a moment to where, like, this bishop is never escaping. I'm going to be able to grab him whenever I want. It would have made sense to, like, develop a piece or castle or whatever, because this capture is never going anywhere, okay? So that's 3 minutes into the opening. I think we have covered a considerable amount. Now, I didn't want to capture immediately because it just opens up this file, is why I didn't want to capture. It's actually the best move, but stepping back is just fine as well. And then for whatever reason, a few moves later, I decide to capture, and I give him the open file. And the reason I didn't want to do that, I will be able to illustrate that for you in about 10 moves. So we're just making moves. I'm really not sure what to do. All I know is that I have the bishop, but I have done nothing to get my pieces closer to his king, and I have really done nothing to stop his pieces from getting closer to my king. So you could argue that I'm not playing very good chess. Now, the best move is to step back with the knight. Either way. What move did I even choose? I play a pawn push in the center. Now, this opens up ideas for sacrifices. He can sacrifice here. If I go for this, I'm just really losing, because if the knight gets in, how am I defending all of this stuff? Say I, like, step forward, he's just hitting me with checks. And if I take back, he's just hitting me with more checks. And if I step back, by golly, he's getting into the position with checkmate. So that rook sacrifice, all you need is, you know, more attackers than defenders. And he's got right now 2 attackers, and my rook, you can hardly even call it a defender. So essentially, I've got no defenders. I've got, like, an extra rook, and I'm up, but whatever. So neither of us saw it. That is why this is the spike, okay? Right here in the position. I don't know if it's going to show up on the map. Yes, it is. Can you see the line? Okay. Boom. Blunder. It goes down. You see where the line in the middle is? Then he misses it, so it goes back up. So that's what those spikes are. I blunder. He didn't see the idea, and he blunders right back. So the position is unchanged, essentially, from before and after this blunder. We step forward. Best move. I realize maybe I'm going to want to bring my rooks behind, and I'm definitely going to want to defend this with at least another piece. So we capture, and I capture here for a really simple idea. That knight was attacking crucial squares in my position. My bishop was kind of doing nothing, so trading it off makes a lot of sense. And in this position, he can capture 1, 2, 3 different ways, and only one of them loses. If he captures the queen, it's just a completely equal position. We push here. He gets into the position. I mean, maybe we, like, launch a pawn, we do something. He's still got the attack. He's still essentially the one applying pressure here. He's attacking this pawn. He's attacking this pawn. My king is kind of ugly, and you're really happy and ready to double up, okay? If you capture with the pawn, then okay. Then I'm just kind of getting sandwiched. Like, you're ready for, like, maybe a pawn sacrifice here to open up the position, or, like, even this, and then you are grabbing this square on my position. Long story short, he spent 2 seconds on this move right here, which walks into a simple fork. Sucks for him. I'm sorry to our opponent for playing this, but sometimes this was a little bit of hope chess, capturing and realizing that this option was there, and boom, it's there. And, like, yes, we ruined my pawn structure. Now this is a little bit instructive. My little king dance that I did here, I realized that this check was going to be annoying and this pawn is weak. So the best practice here is to step over, then he hits you with check, and then and only then do you step back to the corner, because his queen arriving to this square and giving this check is no longer an option. Technically, everything is winning, so you don't got to worry about it. But we go here, and then best move. So what we're really worried about is this. So check this out. If I play anything else, then I'm completely lost, because the rook arrives. Yes, I can take, but he gets this with check. I step up, and then he gets this pawn. And I'm just completely losing. Like, yes, I have the 2 rooks for the queen, but my pawns are separated. Everything in the position is weak. His king is safe. All of his pawns are, like, super secure. And my 2 rooks kind of suck against this queen right now. And so, yeah, in this position, I just am completely losing. And say that I try and run away, well, then I'm just going to get checkmated. Well, he'll probably bring the queen. I step over, then he checkmates me some other way. I'm going to lose the game. So the only good way to defend that is step up with the king, but that's also not great because he can still just jump in, and then I don't know, it's just not what you want. Throwing this pawn forward blocks this square from the rook. Okay, the rook either is going to arrive here and we trade it, and he replaces it with a pawn. Long story short, the queen, it just cuts the rook off from the square. So this is just a pawn push, but it's really kind of important. This is the square that we're worried about, so we just jump past it and all of a sudden it's blocked. The rook is not arriving to the square, at least not immediately. We trade, we step over. Now we're confronting the queen. We're attacking this. He has to step over. Now we just put my rook to a nice little active square. We trade off, and the reason that I trade off here is because boom, boom. Now I have an open file. Okay? So he steps back. I go ahead and just threaten checkmate in 1. We go ahead and just pin this. So now if the rook goes anywhere, I'm pretty much just going to take the queen with check. So it's just my queen is uber active, and I'm threatening this because I can just take this pawn for free because the pin on the king. Okay? Now I can sacrifice here, and if he takes, I take here. And then I'm threatening checkmate here. That's kind of unstoppable. The only way to stop it would be to trade the queens. Completely winning. But you can just be simple. Double the rooks. Get into the position. And then what is he supposed to do here realistically? Like, you just step over. I mean, I take. You take with this. And, bro, I've just got 2 rooks versus 1. I'm winning this every single time. Thank you so much for watching my video. Absolutely crushed that guy. I feel bad. We'll try another one. Maybe I lose. But one thing that I've been doing is playing just casual games against pretty much only higher-rated opponents. Okay, that's not true. Whatever opponent wants to play me. But I've been doing a lot of casual games against, like, 2000s, 2100s, and I think that's really helping me out because I'm like 2,000 on a good day on Lee Chess, and so I'm just playing people that are better than me, and it's forcing me to get better. And so I don't play on chess.com very often, so when I do, I get on here and I feel like I just crush people. Yesterday I played Bullet. I won like 10 games in a row on my phone parked outside of the gym. So just play a lot of casual games, and you don't have to worry about the elo or whatever. And then when you come back and you play a rated game, I feel like you're just better than your opponent at that point. So thank you so much for watching the video. I'll see you guys in the next one. I love you. Bye. Brett, I can bring the knight now. Queen up or knight this way. This is a very, like, cagey type structure where we're both taking all of the necessary precautions before we actually start making advancements forward. Now this knight is defended. I mean, I don't know if this was something I really needed to be worried about. But just in the end game, I think having my rooks on the 2 open and semi-open files, I'm putting the rooks in the middle of the board. It just makes sense. This pawn push can attack this, so maybe pushing this forward or this forward will make sense in just a little bit. And then, okay, with this right here, with G3 played, I don't think that I've had this exact structure, but imagine that it was there. I have almost definitely had this exact structure. He needs to take this and I'll be more familiar with it, but one of the ideas is sliding back with the bishop, and the bishop lives here because we're worried about some sort of crazy stuff happening. Also, the knight can do it in 2 moves. But I think we're just going to push a pawn on the side of the board because I'm undecided and I'm unsure what to do and how to proceed forward. Basically what we're going for, and the most important thing that I've learned through all of my years of playing chess, and specifically in this past year, as my rating has gone higher than it ever has been before, is, bro, just survive the opening. Like, just survive the opening, survive the middle game, and the game will be won and lost in the end game. So right now, I'm fairly convinced that it's more or less equal structure. But now, the idea of escaping suddenly comes to mind. If I play this, what's going to happen? You play this, I take. I think I'm going to go for it. He had the chance. I mean, the position has changed just enough that now my bishop is supported. When he captures, my rook is in the middle of the board. but I think that it's more or less unassailable. I'm ready to double the rooks. There's no check discovery. I mean, there's a discovery here that looks at my defended bishop, so it's not like that's not going to be scary. And if he doesn't take, well, by golly, I think that I'll just take. And it's hanging, and that will make your knight step back. Okay, so he takes. I take with the rook. That was the idea all along. He can definitely touch it. He can give my rook a little touch ski, so that's not great. But the idea of doubling the rooks on the only open file in the position can't be a terrible game plan. And then my knight doing a little ziggity-zag to the middle of the board seems reasonable. And his knight is no longer attacking my bishop on either of these squares because the bishop is dead. And so his knight on the side of the board is kind of stupid. And so what's he thinking about right now? I mean, my game plan is more or less pretty simple. And you know what? Just for you guys, I might even go for this. Just to get the pawn cube. Because I talked about it. We thought about it. We thought we were going to have a pawn cube structure, and he didn't go for it. So if I can do it by trading off a knight instead of my light square bishop, then I'm a happy boy. That's scary. That's scary. But what did I talk about earlier? The bishop sliding back. Because what we're worried about here is some sort of crazy stuff where he applies too much pressure to my g7 pawn. And I just don't like it. So my bishop's being attacked. I mean, I can't move forward. So we are not going to spend a huge amount of time. I spent more time than I needed to on that. But we are undeveloping the bishop. We're sliding in with this check first. Okay. Definitely my queen is being attacked. What on earth are my options? This doesn't work. This is like the only square that seems to be doing anything in the position. So if I come in and then knight jumps in, I don't have to take it. The only thing I don't like about this is it doesn't really give my knight. So maybe I come all the way out and attack this. I'm coming all the way out because I have this open column. What do we call open rank? Open rank. That's the term for it. I was thinking about like an Excel spreadsheet. We're playing chess, not Excel. And so this attacks the pawn, and it also attacks the knight. I mean, that attacks this pawn. I'm not convinced that grabbing this pawn, this with tempo. So I think I just need to take. He takes, and then I'm up a pawn. He gets in with his rook, but I slide back. We're doing that. I mean, his rook is getting ready to come in. And then this is a big problem. So if I play this, he brings the rook in. I come back, attacking this. He steps over attacking. I step over attacking. This is now defended. If he attacks my queen, I'm not sure that I can grab this pawn. I grab in, and I come back. That way this is no option. I'm going for it. I'm going for it. I'm going for it. He can play this first, but then I slide somewhere. And I can even like step back with my knight. So I grabbed a pawn, but he's going to have what is called the initiative. He has a piece on my side of the board, and he's about to have another. And my queen is on the side gobbling pawns. But I am up a pawn, so if I'm able to not get checkmated, I'm all right. And the reason we're not coming back to here is boom, boom. I guess I could jump out with the knight at that point. But then this is hanging. So boom, boom, boom. Not sure what to do. I was basically deciding between these two squares. Now this dude is going to get into the position. And like I said, I can defend it. I can defend it, but he can push this pawn. And then I'm in a real problem. So my knight is hanging. If I go anywhere, what am I trying to do? We're doing this. Yikes. We're getting into a little bit of a time situation right now. I'm getting scared. Okay, so now he's attacking this pawn. Check. Does that accomplish anything? No. I can step here. We attack the bishop. He can defend like this. So he can grab. We give up just the knight? What am I supposed to do here? We go here, here, here. Boom. We're going for it. You can play this. No, you can't. What am I talking about? You can play this, but then I grab. So this bishop is pinned. So I think he has to step over, and then I step back. And then it's a completely even position, but I'm the one with the separated pawns. I think that's a blunder, right? Is it? I step in like so. I step in, defending this, my back rank. I'm so scared. I think that was it. And if the queen gets ideas... Okay, so he pins the knight. I'm literally just going to push a pawn over here. The idea is to step over so I can move the knight. He can try and get in. Like if he just plays this, what do I do? He wants to play this. I step over. He comes in. I jump back attacking the queen. But there's checkmate. Oh my goodness. We defend like this. Yikes. I'm up a piece. But I'm in such a difficult to play position. If he comes in like so. This attacks the queen. What if I just take? We're trying to step back. 14 seconds. Do not blunder this away, bro. If we play this... Bro, I'm just going to hang my queen. Oh my god, bro. I hate chess. Jesus Christ. Cool. You attack the knight. I go here. And I never got away from my stupid back rank checkmate ideas. He can just attack my rook. Awesome. Awesome. I just need to get out of these back rank checkmate ideas. I'm going to lose all my pawns. I'm just pushing this pawn. I'm just going to lose this pawn. And we are going to be in a stupid game of chess. Check here. I mean, can't be good, but we're going for it. Here. This sucks. He can just attack me like this. If I step in like this, he just steps in. Another check. If anything, I'm just helping him mobilize the king. We're going to give this check. He steps forward. This check. This is so not easy to play, bro. And he's got a minute. Okay. You can just push this. You can just push, bro. I'm not checkmating anybody. Did that work? Oh my god. Okay, we grab the queen. We're going for this pawn. Oh my goodness. Here. Here. Which pawn do I grab? Grabbing this pawn. Which pawn? This pawn in. I'm grabbing the closer pawn. You know what? I'm in an endgame that I think I can win regardless. So we're stepping closer with the king, and if I get in here, I can win all these pawns and just trade for this one. It's not really what I want, but it will work. I'm going to save some time. Here, 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 here. I think we go closer with the king. Uh-huh. Get a pawn. He can go for my pawns too. But I don't think I care. I'm so scared. But now we have this. Okay. We're good. We are good. That tactic in the end game. Bro. From out of nowhere. Losing. And I come hopping around with the knight. I made a lot of knight moves. You got to be careful. And I just set up this tactic. A Hail Mary. Boom. And it works. Boom. What did I say at the beginning of this? Games are won and lost in the end game. And all the way back here, we're in the end game. This situation, you know what? I could have just admitted that I was going to lose the knight and just like started grabbing pawns or something. I think taking with the knight would have also made sense because you take, I take, and the rook is under attack, so you got to do something. So I think I could have just taken here. And if you grab my queen, I grab yours. And if you grab my knight, I grab your rook. So if you save your rook, I save my knight. And then I just got a knight, an extra knight against these like three pawns, 2 extra. So let's check that with the computer and see how accurate it was. That was an emotional roller coaster of a game, and it was won and lost in the end game. So let's go to the analysis. And here we are in the analysis. And don't even say it, I'm thinking it too. I came back from nothing. Did I deserve that? I had a completely winning position. In low time, I hang my queen. I hang out long enough for him to hang his queen as well. And so, man, what did I say at the beginning? Games are won and lost in the end game, and there can be huge swings. And so look at this graph. Look at the graph in the opening, look at the graph in the middle game, and then look at the graph in the end game. So if you're going to practice and study and understand anything in chess, it's the end game, okay? Because every game that I play at my level, maybe at lower levels or something, it gets crazy in here. I don't actually know because I'm not looking at graphs of like 1200 rated games or whatever. If you can avoid like blundering pieces in one move in the opening and the middle game, you can do it in the end game and still survive. So that was long enough. Let's hop right into it. We have the Caro-Kann. I believe it's called the Tartakower. Tartakower. Look at that. I know my openings, okay? You don't got to play like this. Right here, developing the bishop is the best move. So just take, this is the main line, Caro-Kann main line. Boom, boom. And then the alien gambit would be this. Okay, so that's how the alien gambit arises. He takes the knight, we take back like this away from the center, but we're going to castle this way and potentially get a pawn cube. So best move, best move, best move, best move. Not the best move. I'm supposed to step forward and get away because I can actually escape on a lot of crazy dark squares like this. But I went for the pawn cube and it's still completely even. If you look at the clock, tiny advantage for white. Now, we're just developing our pieces. And at this point, I realize this was it's been on the board for a while, but I was kind of okay with the pawn cube because I know that it's still an even position. All right. So we are like 18 moves into the game. How many moves into the game are we? Where is it? Yeah, 14 moves into the game. Completely even. All right. And there was a lot of moves we could have played. Finally, I realize I don't need to go for the pawn cube. I can get out of this now that it's supported. And it's been supported for a while. So he trades, I take. There's no useful discoveries, and I can get out of it with a check. So he brings the knight. And then this is something in this structure. If you play the Tartakower, if you play the Caro-Kann and you go into the Tartakower, you should just know this idea. The bishop is attacked. This one, he made it really simple. I mean, he attacked the bishop, and I essentially have one square. That's like, what else was I going to play? Realistically, leave it there or move it. And if I'm moving it, this is the only square that makes sense. But even when the knight doesn't arrive here and maybe there's like other stuff going on, undeveloping the bishop to defend your g7 square is an idea that exists in these types of positions. All right. So it looks stupid that you're undeveloping a piece, but it serves its purpose and you can get back out in the end game after the pressure on this pawn is alleviated. Okay. He attacks the queen. I go ahead, best move, throw in a little trade first. Then I jump in. I'm attacking the knight. I'm attacking the pawn. He jumps in. And essentially, I didn't want to grab this pawn and let him grab this pawn. And it's the right idea to simply trade. Now I grab this pawn. And it's still even because, like I explained in the video, I got a pawn, but he got the initiative. So he has a piece on my side of the board, and he's ready to bring another. Not only that, I've got looming back rank ideas because I have not found the time to make any pawn pushes to give me a little luft. Ideally, this one that I play later. Okay? He attacks my rook. What is the best move here? Just attack the bishop, but I play the second best move, so don't hate it. Then his rook arrives. I undevelop the knight in a way, and just doubling up is what he's supposed to do. It's completely even, but I'm up a pawn. And so a pawn means very little when you have two pieces on your 7th rank and a third ready to support and just get in, okay? So I'm supposed to just throw a pawn on the side of the board. If you expected me to play this move in this position, you're crazy, and that's a cheater. There is no possible way that I play this move, or anybody. Like, are you kidding me? This is what we're dealing with, and you push a pawn on the side of the board. That is how you maintain your advantage? Not a chance. I play the second best, far more natural move. We attack the bishop. When the bishop moves, I get the pawn, or you have to defend like this, which kind of pins the bishop because the rook is undefended. So it's still completely even. But I need to put my rook on the open file. I need to say, these guys are stupid. My queen can maintain all of this. Rook to the open file to prevent the queen from getting in any type way is what I needed to play. I don't. Now, I throw away my one pawn advantage to a minus pawn advantage. It looked fancy. It looked fancy. You take my knight. You take my knight. I take your bishop. And white is just slightly winning because he is not up a pawn, but my pawn structure sucks in comparison to his. Like, his pawn structure is beautiful, pristine, undestroyed, and I got the gap tooth structure and double pawns here. So I was trying to get rid of the knight, like get rid of the knight and get the bishop. I think that actually it's very still holdable. So he steps over. He's attacking this. It's defended by this, but I have this in-between move where I take the bishop, and now I'm defending the rook. So he pins the knight. What I'm supposed to do is say, okay, you take my queen, I'm taking your queen, with tempo on the rook. You get in to touch my pawns, and then we go on from there. I got a knight, okay? We're not going to go further into this. So this happened. I'm supposed to just find this tactic. Instead, I wanted to take 2 moves to get out of the pin. I'm still winning. And again, we're supposed to go for this. We attack the queen. That's funny that the queen is being attacked on both of these squares, somehow with a discovery with the knight, but I'm supposed to just go for it. I go for your queen. If you take, I take. And then, like I said, if you grab my knight, I grab your rook, you lose the game. If you save your rook, I save my knight, you grab a pawn, we're chilling. And so, happened twice. Twice in the position with 36 seconds, I didn't find it. Instead, I defend a pawn. But now, being pinned is still very much an issue because the queen is coming. One more opportunity. He basically forced me to look at. I looked at it. Like before, you got to find this yourself. Here, he literally forces me to think about what happens if my knight takes. And with 26 seconds, I don't know why I didn't play it. Didn't find it. Didn't find it. I take with the pawn. And it goes back to a draw. I'm still slightly winning. Still slightly winning. But you see how the pendulum swings, bro? Like, I'm completely winning here. And then all of a sudden, I go up another pawn, and I'm not winning anymore. Chess is wild. And he chooses the wrong square. This is the square he needed to pick to attack my knight twice. And he picked this one. And the difference is I can attack the queen here. So if he takes here, I'm going to checkmate you in 10 moves. Let's be realistic. That was never happening. That was never happening. The simple idea of attacking the queen does make sense, but then I'm just giving up the knight. So I needed to realize I can give up the knight, you can win the knight, but now I have the initiative. I'm going to checkmate you. Never was seeing that with 14 seconds. Sorry. So instead of that, I hang my queen. And now he's winning. All of a sudden, the pendulum swings. I'm completely losing. He's got the queen. He's got the better pawn structure. I've got back rank ideas, and then a knight and a rook are not as good as like a bishop. If I had a bishop and a rook, it's better. At least a little bit. So we jump the knight to the middle of the board. We defend the pawn. We come back to defend the knight. We push a pawn so that there are no back rank nonsense. So I completely gave up this pawn, but now I'm not going to get back rank checkmated. We move the rook to an open file. We give a check. We jump back. We give a check. We give a check. We give a check. We give another check. So I'm literally just doing nothing. I'm just harassing the king. But the knight and the rook in this structure, I'm never going to checkmate him because you can run this way. And so there's too many pawns in the way. Yes, there are rook and knight checkmates. I don't remember what it's called, but I'm not going to find it. And so I attack the queen. Thank goodness I moved this pawn because now I have an escaping square. He attacks the knight. He basically forces this move. He comes in, and I set up the tactic. He had 1 minute on the clock. If we look at his profile, he doesn't even play bullet. If he would have played bullet, I think with 1 minute on the clock, he wouldn't have panicked. He would have taken the time to realize the rook is looking at my queen. There's a check here. There's a check here. You got to move the queen. And after this move, I'm completely lost because I can't even save everything. Like, I'm so lost. You just get in here and touch both of me. I got to do something. And I picked the not as good move. I could have played this. The difference is... the difference is whatever, okay? We play this move. I guess he could have taken and I taken, and he gets a little bit closer, and then it would be hard to... I don't know. I'm winning regardless. We get the queen. He takes. This pawn is just straight up hanging, but I was more worried about the closer to being promoted pawn. Whatever, we take it. And then here I kind of realized that I've got a 4-on-3. So if I can just get my king in and take these 3 pawns, even if you take all 3, if one pawn makes it, I win the game. And I just sacrifice for this. So I'm supposed to realize I have time to go boom, boom, grab this, you come back, and then move the king, but I come back here. So I could have grabbed a pawn with the rook, whatever. Everything is winning. We go all the way back, and I realize I'm coming in with my king. I'm grabbing these pawns. And then this move right here, this pawn is being attacked, so we jump forward. If you take this one, I get a passed pawn. So that is why I play this move. I guess this is technically better. Or just grabbing this. Whatever. I like this move because it forces the position. We get rid of this pawn, and we're getting a passed pawn no matter what. And then this part, we get behind the passed pawn. We take. He can make a queen, but I'm just going to take it. And my passed pawn is going to live. We don't even care about this one. Thank you so much for watching my video. That was a pleasure to play for you. Sorry if the analysis was a little bit too long. Maybe I should just breeze through the opening and just show you guys the end game, because the opening is like, okay, play chess every day for 6 months, 7 months, and you're gonna have a more or less general idea how to play all the different openings. And so just pick 2 openings, bro. Pick one with white, pick one with black. When other stuff comes up, okay, analyze the game after, look at the best moves. That's all it takes. You just gotta, what's the main line? And then the general ideas in the position, and you don't have to study that hard. It's not like I don't take time aside to study openings. I just study the opening after I play the game. and that has worked just well enough for me. And then in the end game, that's all you got to really know. Don't hang your queen twice. Like, I hung my queen, he hung his queen. We're 1900, bro, 2000, whatever you want to call it. And we're still hanging queens. So focus on the end game. Focus on the end game and the tactics. All right. Thank you so much for watching my video. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Sorry that was too long, but get out of here. Bye. Oh, hello and welcome back. And thank you so much for clicking on my video, my fellow chess enthusiast. What we're going to be doing today is playing against a 1913 T Teddy from France with the Caro-Kann. And I'm basically just going to explain the opening and my thought process along the way. And so hopefully you'll be able to learn something today, and I'll be able to absolutely destroy our opponent in the end game, because I am a firm believer that the opening is not all that important as long as you don't get a losing position. The middle game is not as important as the end game. All of the phases of the game are important. C4 is probably my least favorite played move in this position. And so we're undecided what we want to do with this bishop. I want to apply pressure to this pawn immediately. So you generally want to develop these knights before the bishops, because now this bishop at least has a supporter of moving forward. If he brings the knight, we will just pin it with the bishop. Sorry, I'm not the greatest at arrows. I just figured out how to do the different colors, by the way. Try the blue. You see it? Blue, red, gold. Gold moves, but I have to like reach for it and click it, so I probably won't really be doing that. So everything that I had spoke about previously about bringing my bishop to this square, he don't want the smoke. He don't want the smoke. He wants to develop his knight without my bishop pinning it, which is a fairly reasonable idea. Now I'm stuck with a terrible decision of what do I do with this bishop. There's an option of this, but I think the far more pragmatic approach is to just lock my bishop in jail, and we're going to play on this diagonal later. Same kind of issue with my bishop. What if we just copy him and we get a completely symmetrical structure where I will develop my bishop, he will do something with his bishop, we will both castle, we'll probably trade off equally, and my bishop will be locked on the inside of the pawn chain. Is really the only imbalance that we have. So we're going to develop my last minor piece. That's not even true. I still have my light square bishop. I'm going to develop a minor piece because I still don't really know what I want to do with this bishop. And so he can jump forward into the middle of the board, but in such a position. I mean, he didn't play it, so we don't really need to go into too much detail about what would have happened there. He cannot jump forward because I'll simply grab this pawn. Probably developing his knight is the next best approach, and then I will develop my bishop, and then he will castle, and then I will castle. And so I'm not going to be castling queenside. Most likely. He can still do a waiting move. He can still do a waiting move and decide, like, maybe he does want to castle this way. His king would actually be quite safe over there. The reason I don't want to go that way is because I'm going to castle my king 2 squares and literally be on this open file that is immediately ready for this pawn push. So yes, he's kind of deciding if he wants to go with that. We're going to wholeheartedly just castle this way, and if he castles this way, I'm quick to throw a pawn in his face, and he will probably throw some pawns in my face. Same side castling is probably the best approach for our opponent. It doesn't matter, he was going to lose one way or another, but now I got to really figure out what I'm doing. I think I'm going to just push this pawn, bring the knight, potentially just bring my bishop forward, and this pawn push is somewhat of a problem. Stepping back is also kind of a silly idea, so that I can put my knight here and just allow his knight into the middle. So if he's putting his rook on this file, I'm putting my rook on that file. That is the only analysis that I have for you on that position. Stepping back with the queen. Now, I don't think that there's too many great ways for me to even really step forward. But we need to figure out what to do with my stupidest piece. And my bishop is by far the stupidest piece. This guy is, doing stuff. This guy is preventing the knight from coming in. And his bishop is beautiful along this diagonal, looking at my weak square over here. And so I want my bishop to trade off for that bishop. So we could jump back, allow him to jump in, jump up. If he trades, I trade. I'm not going to think about it anymore. We're going to just do it. Probably bringing my rook over here would have made a lot of sense as well. And even once I get my bishop here, he can probably just push forward with this pawn. And if I take, he takes. Then I jump into the middle, then he jumps into the middle, and we just got a fabulous game of chess on our hands. So, unfortunately, this kind of walks into me getting attacked. If I push here and he doesn't take, then that just... We're going like this. Just take something. Just make something happen. Okay, so he wants to do this. I can't take with the knight. I cannot take with the knight because the pawn will fork me. So I'm going to just step back, and I should probably start playing just a tad bit faster. He can take, and then I take, and then he jumps in, and I take, and then he gets a rook into the position, and he still has the pawn break. So at this point, I'm going to push forward. I'm going to push forward. He could probably just take my knight and bring his knight, and then, oh dear lord. I can also take now. And then I can put my bishop here. Or I can go like this. I got a couple options. I can go like this. And what do I want to do? I can jump forward and kind of threaten this. I don't know what to do. Here, 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 or this. What I'm worried about is him not taking this bishop. That's what I'm worried about. Not taking this bishop, because this bishop sucks. And so I kind of just want to get that bishop traded off, is really what I want to do. I'm still trying to figure out what to do with my stupidest piece, and I'm just hoping he takes it, because he would be getting my light square bishop for a knight, but in the position as it stands, my knight, this bishop really sucks. If I can get to the middle of the board, and he captures, and then I capture with something else, then my bishop all of a sudden opens up. So it looks like he wants to just go for checkmate. I can kind of just get in the way. But first I'm going to just throw my knight here. I'm attacking this, which would attack the queen. So like I'm actually doing stuff right now. He could just take. But like I said, I take back and then all of a sudden this bishop has a life. And if the queen comes in, I can kind of block. It's a really sketchy move to play. But I think we're going to go like this. That also prevented his whole idea. And all of a sudden, my stupid piece is being attacked. But I don't have to trade it off. No, I don't. And this is just not going to happen. And my knight can kind of come here. Two options, essentially, is what I'm seeing. I can play this. He brings his queen. Then I push. Attacking the queen. The queen will probably go somewhere. But this rook is undefended. So here, here, here. I'm attacking the queen. Where will the queen go? The queen will go somewhere, but I can't actually take because this guy is hanging. So I can jump to the middle of the board. Not sure that was the right idea. But we're trying to put my bishop on this diagonal, long story short. And play a little bit faster because I don't want to lose on time. So it's 5 minute plus 5 second increment. So we do get 5 second increment. And I am fairly quick at chess. This is weak. But I like this. I sure hope I'm not missing something. He could have gone for something like this. And this isn't going to work because he can just take with check. He could also, I don't know. He can go for this. No, he can't, because then he walks directly into a fork that he can get out of with check. So this move might make a lot of sense, where I jump forward, attacking the queen. I think that I'm okay with just making this move. I'm a little bit scared. Make no mistake about it. I am absolutely a little bit worried right now. But I think we might have the opportunity to just simplify the entire position and go into an endgame, which I'm quite alright with. With 2 minutes again on the clock, how good are your rook and pawn endgames, friend? Because if he takes, I take. Okay. I think we're just going to take that. Here, here. Okay, boom, boom, boom. You go for the pawn push. Here, here, here. He goes for the pawn push. I can't take because I'm hanging. I can push forward, and then your pawn becomes kind of trapped a little bit. Let's just go for it. I'm not convinced. I'm not sure that was the right move, but I like the idea of going into a rook and pawn endgame, or even like he keeps the queens on the board. I like the idea of just going into an endgame where we are getting increasingly less and less time. This is pretty much going to just be hit on the head. He can also go for this. I can jump forward. I think we're going to go for this. He can come in, but I'm ready for this. He can go here. We're playing this. He steps in. I'm stepping over like this. If he comes here, I mean, there's not a lot of great moves to be played. But like I said, we're whittling away at the clock. We are whittling away. If he plays this, I think we want to slide over first. And we're going to be taking with the rook because we don't want that same mechanic. And oh god, getting into a queen endgame is looking what it's looking like, and it might just get a little hectic. I'm going to be completely honest with you. 1 minute and 24 seconds on the clock. I got 2 minutes. All we got to do, the way to win this, the way that I always win chess, is just don't blunder first in the endgame, bro. That was a fantastic move. If I take, he just kind of bars me out. So boom, boom. And then realistically, what is my idea? I think let's just take. He comes in, I just step forward. If he takes with the pawn, my rook is kind of trapped in jail, that's for sure. So taking with the pawn, probably just a great idea for him. And he's got this. But I could just push forward, right? So let's go for a pawn break over here. What did that accomplish? We're going for this. I don't know what that accomplished. What was that move? Take, take. I'm trying to get in, is what I'm trying to do. He's definitely got some scary ideas of pushing as well. He doesn't need to take. If he takes, he just allows me to get in with tempo on this. Trade, 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 trade. Keeps everything sturdy. But I think we're going to be alright. We're going for it. We can also just push and then try to get in. Push, and then all of a sudden, it's not a passed pawn, but I don't want to take and just let him come with tempo on this. So we're going to push. Then we're going to the open file, which I can beat you to. Back rank ideas? Okay. Here, here. That's the idea. You can bring your king. But he doesn't have to take. I go here. If he does take, I get in. He can go for this. He can slide back. If he takes, I'm pretty sure he loses. But we're kind of going for this because we're hoping for that. Here, 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 here. I push forward. If he goes for this, I think I'm going to have too much tempo. We step up. All of a sudden, he's getting too close. So the options are trade into this king and pawn endgame, which I'm not confident about. Or I keep the rooks on the board. We keep the rooks. I like the idea of keeping the rooks. I don't know how else to explain it, but I feel like that's what I needed to do. Okay, so you touch me. I go. Let's just shuffle around a little bit. Five seconds is a huge amount of increment, by the way. His rook is tied down to guarding this pawn. Launching this probably makes a fair amount of sense. Here, and I'm trying to wiggle my way in. If I go forward, he just steps up. I step in, he pushes, I take, his rook gets in. I can also give him a check. If he goes here, I step up. That is the whole idea here. He's going for this. Okay. Here, and I'm trying to get in. Ah! Scared. I'm scared. He can come forward. But I hit him with a check, and he's not coming forward. Okay. I'm trying to bring my king. I feel like I'm getting more active than him. Where are you trying to go with that, realistically? We're coming back for this idea. He's got this. But I throw in this first. You can't take comfortably. You can't take here. You have to stay guarding this. I take, back, take, I come in. I think that's my way forward. We take. You have to take, and I step in. I step in. Okay. We're stepping in. We want to go this way. Yes. Here, 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 here. I think we're chilling. You can come in. There might have been a different way to do this. He's going to get this. Get here. I can also get out of the way like this. I get the queen, bro. We check him in front of this pawn. There's probably a lot of different ways to win this. No need to freak out. No need to freak out. Step away from my pawns. Deep, heavy sigh. We have secured the victory. He can resign now. Boy, oh boy, was that an instructive game of chess. I'm not 100% sure in that endgame. There were a lot of tricky things, but the king activity and the rook activity, like we had completely equal everything. The only thing that was not equal was the activity. And like I said, bro, you win in the endgame. You literally win in the endgame. That's all you have to do. And so just survive the opening, survive the middle game, and then get better at your endgames. And so let me think for a second. I think if he didn't try this move right here, this was it. He overextended. I think if he would have just casually like pushed forward or pushed you know, like pushed this one to lock this down, I think it's still a draw. It's hard to say, but I have this little idea. But I think it's still a draw in this position, and he plays this. No longer is it a draw because I don't need to rush into this. I can make an immediate threat. And now it's a real problem because you can't take, or this whole idea works. What if he would have just like stepped back actually? Like I come in. No, he can't. He has to do something or else I'm winning this pawn, and then you really lose. So it was this pawn push. I'm almost guaranteed. Let's check it with the computer, see how accurate that was, and I will see you over there. And here we are in the analysis. And what did I say at the beginning and the end and during the middle of that game was rush into an end game and win the game there. And so there was one opportunity that I completely missed in the middle game. I'm sure some of you guys saw it, and I'm sorry for that. I did not see a simple move, but it is what it is. Neither of us saw it, so we go into an end game. And so we're going, this is the Carl Khan exchange variation where I'm supposed to bring this knight first. You know what? Memorizing all this stuff is difficult to do and not fun, and so I don't do it. You know what I mean? And so sometimes what results from that is a slightly losing position with either the white or the black pieces, but does it matter? No, it never matters. Unless you're a grandmaster playing in the serious tournament or something, it does not matter because what is a +1 advantage? As long as you didn't actually lose the pawn, then you're chilling. If it's a positional -1, it literally means nothing. And so I'm supposed to just be brave and bust open in the center. But the reason I don't want to do that is because it strays away from the structures that I'm much more comfortable with. And so really, if he develops and I pin and then I push and then he develops, and then I'm way more comfortable with all those structures. And so we develop the knight. I'm still supposed to throw this pawn in the center or Fanketto. But the reason I don't do that is because I'm uncomfortable. Not uncomfortable, but I'm just not well versed in either of these lines. I do this or this, then I'm in a completely new realm of chess. So instead, we play something that I am somewhat familiar with. We get to this position, and I have played this pawn structure many, many times, and I have had this same problem of my bishop being trapped behind the light squared pawns many times. And so that's why I'm going for this. It might not be the best course of action, but at least I know what I'm doing a little bit better. So we castle. He jumps the knight into the middle at some point. We're both kind of just making improving moves. And so if we take a look at the computer analysis, we are 13 moves into this game, completely equal. That is how almost every game of chess is, unless you make a like serious one move blunder. So talking about serious one move blunders, this move didn't make any sense at all. I'm basically putting my knight in like arguably the worst square it could possibly be in the entire position on my side of the board. Okay, I could definitely have it here, and that's worse. But in my position, this knight is just about as dumb as it gets. And so the whole reason my knight wasn't doing this was to prevent this knight from jumping in. So it is what it is. I go right back to where I was, and now he has improved his position greatly because I did a little shuffle back and forth. I made a move, and then I realized, man, that knight actually had a pretty good job where he was, and I put him right back. And so now I'm supposed to just accept it and try and like do something different. But we step back with the queen. The simple reason that I'm stepping away with the queen is so that I can capture and that this isn't a fork touching my queen and my knight, okay? So I launch a pawn. I have a -1 position, but who cares? My knight goes over here. This is 2 times my knight has touched the side of the board in one game. But now he finally gets to a pretty nice square where I'm attacking this pawn. I'm attacking the knight in the middle. It's actually pretty nice. And he trades me off. And holy guacamole. The whole reason we did this is now my bishop has access to the long diagonal. So like his bishop is amazing. My bishop sucked. But one other part of chess is in the opening and parts of the middle game, the bishops suck. The more things that trade off the board, the better they get. So this bishop has been chilling the entire game. But just now on move, what are we at? I don't even know how to read this thing. We're on move 14. No, 20. We're on move 20. Finally, we get a little window of hope. So if I get my bishop here, finally we can see through all the nonsense. So he jumps forward, and I changed my mind. I was talking about come and kill my bishop, but now that there is no pawn on this square and I can see through, I want to keep my guy. I want to put him here, and just that's my whole idea. We then don't trade off and bring another piece to the party. Right now, your queen sucks on this square, so why would I trade a knight to put your queen on a better square. Now your queen is just on a better square and we don't have knights. So you don't have to trade just because it's there. You got to think about, like, is that going to bring his pieces closer to my king? Yes, it is. Directly in front of my king, looking right at him. Very scary. So I put my knight in the middle of the board. Much better. We then immediately set up some ideas here. And so this is my blunder of the game. My opponent's and my blunder. How long did I spend? I spent 5 seconds, so I really spent 10 seconds. But what I was worried about was, like, his knight coming in and my knight is pinned. Oh, this is what I was worried about. He jumps back attacking my knight, and then all of a sudden I just have a lot of things attacking, and if I ever move my knight, he has two pieces on my bishop. So this is the best move. I can straight up just fork these guys. Just fork them. What are you going to do? I mean, if you move, I take the knight. If you take here, I just take here. I mean, you can trade off some rooks as well, but you're down a piece, and you are going to continue to be down a piece. So simple pawn fork. Didn't see it. Forgive me, please. And I did this instead. So this move in and of itself is not bad because it defends the bishop, but there was a way better move. Okay, way better move. And so we trade off. Or we tried to trade off. And yet again, one more thing you can just appreciate is, if I take, you bring your rook to the party. We don't want that. We don't want your rook coming to our party. So what we're going to do is slide over. So if you take me, my rook is coming to the party. And so that is generally how you need to think about chess. It's like a party, and you want your pieces to show up at the enemy's party, and you don't want your party to get crashed. And so one way you can do that is not just giving them direct lines of doing that. I don't think that made any sense at all. So we're going for this pawn push. Basically, my queen doesn't have a whole lot of play. Like, this diagonal is cool and all, but I'm not actually ever going to get into the position. So I'm going for this little pawn break idea on the side of the board. We trade, and now, you know what I mean? I've got a very identifiable weakness in the position. He does as well. He could pretty much just go like this and this. No, he couldn't. It would be defended. So I like my position better than his. The best move is to launch a pawn. Hard to play, or slide back and kind of like prevent stuff, whatever. He could kind of plug the hole. Like, if I do this, he can slide over, and then even if I like slide into the position, he's pretty quick to just like bring his king, and he doesn't got to worry about anything. So either way, we do that. We get on the open file, still completely equal. Other than that fork that I missed, bro, it's still equal. We are on move 38. Move 38, still equal. Boom, into the position, still equal, sliding around. But now I've got a cool little outpost. So he's slightly losing here. Still doesn't really mean a whole lot, but my rook is beautifully placed. I'm like in your position, bro. And you can't take, or I just get a queen. And yeah, it came to be fruitful, whatever you want to call it. I start bringing my king. Now, we do a couple shuffling moves because I realized I was a little bit low on time. So we shuffled like this. Then we play the pawn push rather than in this position. Where was it? Rather than just stepping over right now, I realized I can do a little bit of shimmying and get a little bit of time. And so that's why we did all this. Now we push the pawn. We have a different position. And so if all of everything up here repeats again, it's a different position because now this capture has taken place. And so I'm making diagonals for my king. That is the whole idea. Or this diagonal, we're coming in here. The whole idea is just trying to get more and more active. And what's crazy is this pawn push is the best move right now because take, and he's active. And he's close to getting here. So this is the best move right now. Now it is the worst move. 5 moves later, 3 moves later, whatever it is, because the position changed just enough. In this position, it's not good because you're worried about the trade and my king getting in. So before that wasn't really an option because my rook was over here, so this pawn push would just be your king getting in. My rook was kind of like off sides, like not really doing a whole lot over here. But for the reasons that I explained in the video, I probably explained it pretty quickly because I had 30 seconds. We step in, and he could just keep it on the board. But at that point, I win this pawn. So he can't move his rook off of this file, or I can just take, and then I grab this pawn, or just grab this pawn straight up, and if you take, I take, and you take, and then I have a pass pawn. Long story short, if I win this pawn is 2 squares away from promoting. So If you take, I simply take back, and I'm 1 square away from promoting, and you cannot catch me. And so this is a cheeky idea. Just because this is on the board, I don't have to take. If I take, then it's probably completely equal. No, he's still losing because this is still the same idea, essentially. This is still what I'm going for. But, yeah, a little tactic here. We threaten the rook. The rook's got to do something, or you got to trade me, or you got to step back. And when you step back, I can take. Then you step away, and I take here. You have to take or push, and whatever you do, I have made your king step back just enough that I can access these squares. Just like this. And then all you got to do here is calculate who gets the pawn, who gets the queen first. And it's not too hard to do. You know, I'm going to just get the queen. You're not there yet. We go ahead and force you in front of the pawn. We put my queen on the same file. So no matter what happens, I'm sacrificing for this. Yes, he's potentially could win this pawn at some point if I screw up or whatever, but we don't care because we're grabbing this pawn. One other thing. You don't have to rush in these situations. I'm going to kill the queen when it arrives. I don't need to kill the pawn before it becomes a queen. And so in this position, he steps away. The best move is to grab here because this is kind of like, I don't know, I guess it's interchangeable, but grabbing this first because I have time. Then the queen arrives, then I take it. And so knowing this in your endgames, doing this, in this situation, it doesn't matter that much, but I promise you, in other situations, wait until the queen arrives, then take. Wait until the last moment. You do not need to rush to win the pawn. You need to rush to win the queen. And I have lost games because endgames can be crazy. And sometimes it makes the difference between winning and losing. So I have learned the hard way. Just wait till it's a queen. The only time you don't want to wait is if there's a knight or something that's going to get in the way defended by the king. Okay? So like say this is the position, but he has a knight here, and he throws the knight here, and all of a sudden he blocks you being able to take. Okay, then rush. But in this situation, no rush. And then here we go. Boom. My pawns are promoting. I'm going to make some queens. Did I read the graph? One blunder. That was the fork. So essentially I played like an almost perfect game other than not finding that best move. That's this spike right here. I'm missing that fork. And one blunder, that was that. 2 inaccuracies. More or less a not perfect game of chess, but a very good and instructive end game, if anything. The end game, like I said, just practice these end games, bro. Just play the puzzles on Lichess, practice the puzzles, and then just go into your games and try not to hang pieces, get into the end game, and spend your time there, okay? Thank you so much for watching my video. I hope that was enough chess advice for one day. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Get out of here. Bye. Oh, hello, and welcome back, and thank you so much for clicking on my video. In today's episode, what we're going to be doing is bullying someone that is slightly lower rated, and I'm going to explain my thought process and why the moves that he makes are bad and why the moves that I make are good, and probably I'll make some bad moves as well. And I'm just going to share a secret with you. There are really 2 or 3 things that I have done that got me good at chess. So one of them is watching chess videos. I would recommend Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky. Sorry, his name's hard to pronounce. And then Will Taylor Chess. Will Taylor Chess plays attacking, aggressive chess, and that is what I want to emulate. I want to learn how to play like him, and he's much better than I am. And watch those 2 people. Don't watch Gotham Chess. He's just going to give you entertainment. He's not going to give you like hardcore information that is going to get you better at chess. Hate to say it. Some of his older videos, yes. So what we're doing here is we have the bishops opening. You don't see this move really played often at a higher level because I'm not really sure of the reason, but I know that there is this line. If he takes with the pawn, are you ready to learn something? We sacrifice the bishop. He has to take. If he doesn't, we just get out of there. He lost the right to castle. We got back. So that is what we're going to be playing. We step all the way back. His king is exposed. He can't castle. And we got back the pawn that we gambited essentially in the beginning. So this guy's being attacked. Generally, that is the natural development square for the knight. So I can do 2 things. I can defend the pawn, or I can push it forward in his face. And if I push it forward in his face, what is he really doing with that knight? He's got to kind of go back. You know what I'm saying? He can't go here or here. He can't go here. So he kind of just needs to go back. So you need to be very weary of developing your knight when there's a simple pawn push that can attack it. Furthermore, you also need to be a little bit nervous. Not nervous, but you shouldn't play moves like this bishop check if the pawn can just come forward and attack you, because then you lose a tempo. So he pins the pawn to my king. Very reasonable move. I think we're going to pin the knight. And if he pushes forward, I might even take. Then he takes. I can also pin the knight. So I think his position is just going to unravel quickly because there's this pin. I mean, we don't want him taking our pawn. That would be rather unfortunate. So, I mean, I can pin the knight, but then he just comes in with check. So I could just develop the queen and hold on to this. I mean, and then I can take. But what if I go here and he takes? I develop a knight? What do I do? I think we're just going to step forward and defend the pawn. His knight is still in kind of the same situation where it needs to step back, and I really like that. We just don't want to lose our pawn with check, with the prospects of like trading off the queens. So yes, he steps back. And kind of just like that, he took away an escaping square for the king. That was a crucial square that the king could have gone to. This diagonal is pretty much mine. So if I give this check, you always want to look for checks. And so I'm looking at this check. Yes, we hang the pawn, but how do you block that? Well, you can't block it on this square with the queen because my bishop. You can't run to the side, and if your knight comes back, then I really want a way to defend this pawn. So I think we're going to go here. The knight comes back. We can't really take, but then we develop here. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Here, here, develop over here. Then he can take. I don't want that to happen. And doing this stops all my fun ideas. So, I mean, check here. Step over with the knight, but then he grabs my pawn. And then where is my attack? Unfortunately, we might just have to play practically here. And just hold off. Maybe even going this way would have made sense. So he wants to just get into the position. We're going to attack the queen, because I can develop a piece with tempo on the queen. This is defended. Right now his bishop doesn't really see anything, and we're just really trying to touch these diagonal squares. And so he's really only got a few moves, and I can even just push this gosh darn pawn down your throat, bro. We push this pawn. Then where's the queen going? Then I'm walking in with this check. And is that checkmate? Am I crazy? We push this. It's defended. So I think we just push this pawn down his throat. And once we get it here, it's checkmate. Because he can't scoot over. So we just attack the queen. I'm not 100% sure if I'm missing something here. But we push forward. This diagonal. Have you ever seen a checkmate like that? I mean, that is checkmate, correct? We give him a check. He can't go anywhere and he can't take it. Absolutely ridiculous. I have never, ever in my life seen a checkmate like that. I've never done a checkmate like that. I straight up just pushed a pawn down the board and checkmated the enemy king with the queens and everything still on the board. That is absolutely wild. That was only 6 minutes long. So I definitely couldn't figure out what to do, but I guess like everything worked out. So the line that I was trying to show you in the beginning, we'll do it without the computer. The line I was trying to show you is when the king captures, because then you have a whole heckin' lot of fun. We still had fun, but you have more fun. You come out here, attack the queen, and you get this bishop. Okay? Then he normally pushes this pawn. You can grab this pawn, or you can give a check. Grabbing this pawn is just fine, and then it goes on from there. But essentially, most people are going to just capture this bishop. You give the check, you win this bishop because they're going to push this pawn. I did that in the wrong order, but let's check with the computer, see how accurate that was. Not sure. I know that this move right here, boom, this is not really a good move. It just has like a 50-50 chance of getting you a crushing position. So at the cost of getting an equal position, the main line is they capture, you bring the knight, they develop their knight, you take, he takes, and then you attack the knight. And it's a completely equal position, but you got, it's an equal position. So let's check with the computer, and I will see you over there. And here we are in the analysis, and that game was only 11 moves long. So hopefully that was long enough of a game to explain some stuff. We definitely got some principles, but we didn't get really any end game or middle game technique. Middle game, you can call it that, but that was a weird game. I got a checkmate with my e-pawn, bro. Like, what? So in the bishop's opening, this is one of the best moves. And people haven't faced this a lot. So right here, this move is only played, 4% of the time. So the bishop's opening is played like 8% of the time. And then of that 8%, 4% of the time do they see this pawn push. So long story short, unless you play a whole heckin' lot of chess, people have not seen this. And so I would recommend picking a opening that is down on the list. Can you see down here where it's changing? Pick something down there, like in this position. For black, bro, do not just pick this because it's the best move. You can pick something else, not that move, but the knight, something that is not like mainline theory that your opponent has studied a whole lot of. And so when you get better, you can focus more on the like the mainline stuff. So the bishop comes out, we go for this. If he takes with the bishop, we attack it with the knight, he defends it, we grab the bishop, he jumps in, and then we attack the knight with our bishop, and he has to step back. We have the bishop pair, we're down a pawn, we have a lead in development. It's an equal position. So you're down a pawn, but you kind of have the bishop pair in an attack. So at the cost of that, getting an equal position, sometimes, just sometimes, they take with the pawn. Then you have this sacrifice, where if they step over, you run all the way back, like what happened in the game, and you just have a 1.4 advantage. I was about to say minus 1.4. You have a 1.4 advantage, and you're good to go. If they take, you come out with your queen, he's going to block with this pawn. Even if he goes back, you just hit him with this check. So if he hits you with the pawn, you grab this bishop. A lot of different things can happen here, but long story short, it's +1. You're going to grab this pawn, more likely than not, also attacking this rook. The king can't castle. He's very naked. His pawn structure sucks, and you are very quickly, this is just like an example, you're very quick to develop your pieces. Like, say this happens, say he does something else. You're very quick to castle opposite, and he just has a headache of a position to defend. Okay, so none of that happened. Capture, capture. He didn't want the bishop, and we get into this position. So now he develops this knight, and when you develop a knight like this, and there's a pawn ready to push forward, you have to ask yourself: are there available squares forward rather than just going back to where you came from? So I think pinning it makes the most sense, but this is sketchy. It's not a good move. I have a +2 advantage now because I attack the knight. You really have a few options. Bring the knight back or pin the pawn to the king. Either one is sketchy. And so this looks like it's an open square, but it's not because of this check. Okay? So you can't play this. We're just gonna win it like so. Okay? So that looks like an open square, but it's not. The other squares are actually taken. Okay? Actually taken. I don't know why I marked this square. But okay, he pins it. Cool. Now it's unpinned. This is an option yet again. And so, like I said, he's got the option of going back where he came from or going back over here. Going back here is better because you want to run this way. Doing this kind of trapped your king with no moves. Your king has 0 moves, and you don't want to be in that situation. I mean, I guess he had 1 move the other way. So the difference is the king has at least 1 move, okay? So he blocks it off. Now, the best move is to step over with the king. Now, we're not super worried about this pawn coming with a check. That was the main thing. We're not going to have to trade the queens now. Now we can give this check or develop this or do whatever, and we're not worried about this whole moving my queen away and this coming with a check on my king. Now my king is here, so that's a hard to play move. Either way is actually quite comfortable. I thought about this for basically like a minute and a half and decided not to do it, and I play another move that is still winning, okay? Now, we want to develop our pieces. So we don't want to develop this knight and get in the way of our bishop, so we want to develop our bishop first. The reason that we don't develop it here is it gets in the way of the knight. Here is taken by a pawn. Here just doesn't do a whole lot. And here attacks the queen. Obviously, this is the best move. So we play this move. Now he's in a situation where he can move the king, but then the pawn advancement becomes a thing. Or he blocks to the knight, which is hard to do because he's going to have to just completely give up the knight. And so one other tidbit. When your queen gets attacked like this, when your queen is attacked, your king is weak, and the opponent has a heavy attack like this, if you have 4 minutes and 40 seconds, spend at least like 30 seconds considering the top 2 or 3 moves, okay? Or 4, or whatever, however you want to calculate. Dude spent 8 seconds, +5, so he spent 13 seconds. 13 seconds on this move, and then immediately, I see this move. We just push it forward. We are literally just shoving this pawn down your throat. Now you're in another situation. Now instead of losing the knight like you were going to lose before, you're going to lose the queen. Because if you step over, I'm going to take it. And if you do anything else, checkmate is coming with the e-pawn all the way down the board on e7, checking the king. Have you ever seen something like that? I have literally never done that. I need to take a picture of this and just like show some people that care about chess, because that is interesting. A pawn checkmate supported by the queen and a diagonal cut off by the bishop. Ridiculous. Have we traded any pieces? What did we trade? We traded a pawn, right? And that's it? I have all of everything. No, he has everything. Except a pawn. We're down a pawn. What did we trade? I'm so stupid. Either way, that is how you play chess and win. I'm sorry that video was a little bit short. At some point here, he was supposed to realize. So my blunder of the game, stepping over with the king so that moving the queen so this doesn't come with check becomes an option. Hard to see. Hard to see. You don't generally want to play a move like that unless you have to. And I guess this was a situation where I wanted to. This being almost just as good is fine, except he could have pushed the pawn and then this idea doesn't work. So I still just have a good position. Now, he just needed to think about like what is going on in this position. And I get it. He wants to develop this piece, but this would have made far more sense because you really don't want my pieces arriving on this square right here because that's just problems all day. So boom, boom, boom. Checkmate with a pawn. Crazy checkmate. Thank you so much for watching my video. It was a pleasure playing chess. I hope you learned something from it. If you did, please subscribe. And if not, just watch every single other video of mine or anybody else's on YouTube, and you'll get good at chess, I promise. That's how you should do it. Watch like 3 videos, play 1 game. Okay. Watch 2 videos, play 1 game. Or just 1 and 1. I don't know. Watch a video, play a game. Watch a video, play a game. But I would definitely recommend watching videos of people that are slightly better than you. Way better than you. I gotta be honest, sometimes Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky is like talking about some stuff, and I have no idea what he's talking about. I'm like, okay, that was too much for me. But it's not always like that. So thank you so much for watching. I'm not gonna take up any more time. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, hello, and welcome back, and thank you so much for clicking on my video, my fellow chess enthusiast. In today's episode, what we are going to be doing is absolutely destroying this 1986. Doesn't say where he's from. We're gonna take a quick gander. He's from Italy. 2,000 games, joined 1 month ago. That is sketchy. He doesn't have real ratings in anything but Rapid and Bullet. He says, hello, have fun. I don't think we are going to be having any fun today. And so, let's just develop the knight. You know what I mean? Already, just out of the opening. Not sure if I made the right move here. He's definitely just got this. So let's just develop. He's got the pawn push. We're going to take that idea away. We don't want the pawn pushing forward, so we're going to just do this. We don't really have a great square to put this bishop. Like if I go here, I'm breaking the pin. Let's just push a pawn. Let's push a pawn on the side of the board and not be afraid. And so I guess one thing that I want to hammer in is studying openings is way overrated. You need to study endgames. If you're trying to get better at chess, that is where the game is won and lost every single time. 99% of the time, the opening does not matter. You can literally make like a selection of 5 different moves in every position that keep it just about equal. And so we want to develop this bishop. I don't have really great squares. The pin is not going to happen. I guess we don't really have to take. We could develop this. So the reason that we're challenging this is like, what else was I going to do with the bishop? I really had my choice of this square, but the pin was never really going to happen because my pawn is defending the pin. I think it's time we take a little castle. Probably our opponent will castle. Okay, we capture. Now it might be time to castle. And we could jump forward. And then like this happens. I don't know if that's really good for anybody. Putting my rook here probably makes more sense. So let's just go with this. Probably that's the correct idea. Go ahead and put my knight to an active square. I mean, we're just going to trade it off. Why not? And we kind of got to keep my knight here because I don't want this to happen. We can go for a double up technique. He could play something. If we play this, 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 we're going to be all right. So we're just going to play it. And basically, my strategy in some of these games is literally just like trade evenly, get into an endgame as fast as possible, and that is where the game is won and lost. We have made 14 moves, and I can almost guarantee you that it is a complete draw no matter what. Let's just trade a piece equally. He might even throw in this rook capture. I'm not really sure that it's good or bad for anybody, but we're going to double up the rooks. That is the straight up idea here. We're still holding down this square. That makes the knight step back, which is probably really not like incredibly useful or anything, because if I take, and then I bring my queen over, I have no infiltration, because when the knight moves from being attacked, he could even step over with the king. There's probably a lot of things that he could do here. But let's just rush into an equal endgame. It looks like I came back surviving a shipwrecked island. Yes, it does. Look at this beard. This thing is ridiculous. Should I shave it all off? I took your idea, Isaac, and said that I would do it like live on stream, and then if I reach like a certain level of subscribers or like whatever it may be, then shave the beard. So I'm just thinking this. He comes back with the knight. I could just push forward here. If I step back, capture, capture, his knight can actually get access to this square in 2 moves. How powerful is his knight being on this square? I mean, I could probably just like step forward and then like bring my knight over here challenging this. I mean, I could just take, but then he's got this pawn break, which I don't love. Shave at 1.5. I think 2K. 2K is a better idea. I'm sensing that I want to be able to push here to defend this. And dude, we are just rushing. Like if the knight comes here or here, he's got some good squares for this guy. I mean, I can get my knight here and he can get his knight here. I'm not really sure which one is better. And I don't see really any weaknesses or like any great movement forward. I guess I can go here and go for the pawn break. Here, push like this, that's sketchy. He can go here and capture, capture, capture. Let's do it. We're going for the pawn break. He can defend it, like literally, he's going to be making one of these moves. I think that this one's probably more flexible because he has the choice of going to either one. We do have this check now. We do have the pawn break as well. Then we just get into the position with tempo on this, covering these squares. I think we go for this. If he brings the knight, okay, we take with tempo on this. Never forget the tempo winning moves. He defends. We could just trade. It's probably time. He can launch here. He's got a 3-on-2. He's got a 3-on-2. Also tempo. Scary to play move, but we're going to do it. He can attack us. We jump in. Oh, he defends. Okay. He's got his choice of these moves. I could play this. What about check? Check. I mean, what does that accomplish? Got 5 minutes. Don't say something like that in the chat, bro. I think we play this. Here, here. Attack it again. It's not really attacking anything. Would give this check. I mean, he just steps over. Potentially I hit him with this check. He steps over again, or he steps forward. Maybe I just defend this. We're a little bit worried. Like if I step forward, he jumps in. Okay? We attack. He jumps in. We push again. I'm not... Ugh, these knight endgames are complicated. Kind of thinking just step forward. We just step forward. No, that walks into this. Okay, we're doing this. It defends this square from the knight. We can at least get a check. This is undefended. Probably we got to push forward. I have a 4-on-3, and he has a 3-on-2. That is the imbalance of the position. The only thing that I really got going for me is the kings are on this side. So his 3-on-2 is weaker than my 4-on-1. The knights are on this side, but the knights kind of are not as good as the king in the endgame at stopping pawns. And so what I am thinking is if I can make some sort of pass pawn on this side of the board, there's a chance that I can just completely immobilize the knights, and then we fight over these 5 pawns over here. Quit playing Ring Around the Rosie. Develop the king. I stepped the king forward. I'm on the second rank. He's on the second rank. I think we're completely even in regards of king activity. So he goes ahead and gives me a little tiny check. If I jump forward, he kind of just gets like a tempo winning move. What am I really accomplishing with the knight? I think this might be the new idea. We play this. He jumps in with check. I step up. We're playing this. 4 minutes and 22 seconds against 7 minutes. His knight will be quite happy over here. Also able to access this square, attacking this guy. As long as I don't hang some sort of stupid fork from these knights, I think we're going to be all right. But this is going to be a doozy of an endgame. An absolute doozy. It's all about who blunders first. I can defend that with the king. We have to play this, no? He's got this. I push forward. He hits me with a check. Step over again. I'm a little bit spooked. I'm not going to lie to you guys. His knight seems to be doing more knightsy stuff than my knight. Do we attack? What do we do? We can jump forward, attacking this. Ooh, I kind of like that. He pushes forward. We hit him with the check. I think we go for this. Attacking this guy. How do you defend it? We jump forward. If you push, I hit you with a check. You step here, I hit you with another check. If I do this, if he captures, I take, he pushes forward, I stay defending. It's a scary move to play, but this is the move I play. I think it might be a winning move. I jump in, you jump in, I push. You hit me with a check. I attack. We're going for this. This doesn't work because I get in. This push doesn't work because I have the fork. Boom, boom. Defending with the knight. Please. This is so scary. This. We step over. We're going for this guy. You can't defend because your square is taken. That's the defensive square. He's also got this, but this is not going to work either. So I might be grabbing a pawn. And then it's still a draw, but then I'm on the happy side of the draw because I all of a sudden made a pass pawn. I win this pawn becomes stronger. And I don't even need to like completely commit. At some point, if this knight moves, I can step forward. And then I have like a super impenetrable structure and we can focus on this over here or like making a pass pawn over here. I think we're doing all right. I think we are doing all right. And finally, our opponent decides to take a little bit of a think. Okay, I think that what I calculated made sense. Check here, check. It doesn't work. This is defended. Am I stupid? Am I stupid? Check. We attack the knight, no? If you take, I take. Here, here. I think I have to play this. We attack the knight. If you take here, I take here. But then he just takes back. Ugh. What about this? Here. Still this with check. Oh, did I just blunder? God damn it, that was not a game-winning move. That was me blundering away the endgame. I think I can still survive. What do I do? What do I do? Check. This doesn't work. This. Here. To. This is what I'm playing. He can take. Then it's a 3-on-2 versus 3-on-2, but his 3-on-2 is more advanced than mine. Help. 1 minute and 36 seconds. This is tense. Take. He's also got this. We're ready to attack. If he does something else, I think I'm ready to just attack like this. He can throw this in with check, so it actually doesn't work incredibly well. My king would be pretty active right there. Gives me a little check. What do I do here? If I step forward, he's got this check. Don't love that. If I step over, then we're covering a lot of stuff. He could step in, but then I'm ready to take and then separate these pawns. I quite like that. If the knight ever moves, I can take that as well. So take. Probably take. If he pushes, I take. He steps forward, I step over. He pushes, I take. He takes. Then this pass pawn is actually tremendously scary in that position. Here, I can attack first. Attack this knight first, then grab this. Here, grab this, attacking the knight. I think something is happening right here. We attack. Do I simply capture this back like this? Could step forward as well. I think we go for this. If you step in, I take. We're doing this. We attack the knight. If my knight goes here, though, I'm completely invested in making a pass pawn and winning the endgame. This 3-on-2 is actually getting really scary because my king is not over there and my knight is potentially going to be quite far. So if you play something like this, we take. Where are you really going in that situation? You have to play something like this, no? I capture. I got a long journey home. Okay. Here, check. I step over. Here. Okay, we don't love it. We can take here. Here. Ah, what do I do? Take, check, here. He jumps in. I step back. He wins this. I win this. 24 seconds. Here. This, I step back. He wins this. I win this. He hits me with this fork. I step up. He wins this. I attack this. He could attack this. I grab here. That defends this. Okay, he wants to play that. I've at least escaped from that fork. He's got this. I'm back to defend this. He jumps up here. He's got this. He jumps up here. I push. He jumps over. Completely equal. But now I have 9 seconds and he has 3 minutes. I hate chess. Gosh darn it. Okay, he goes for this. We're just committing. You go for this. I'm making a pass pawn. That is the whole idea here. He takes. I push. You take. I'm ready to run. Don't have time to calculate it. Push here. We run. Oh my god, I got 1 second. Okay. This is tense. I think I can just push. At some point, right? Here. No, if he does this, I take. If he goes here. We step forward. No checks. 5 seconds. Ready to push. Deep breaths. Deep breaths. 5 seconds. Here, here. How are you stopping this pawn, bro? I can almost pre-move that, correct? I mean, this is going to be my next move. I'm so scared. This. Just comes back, I push. He runs over, I make the queen. Doesn't have this. Where are you trying to go with that knight, bro? I got 6 seconds. 1 square away. How are you defending this? You got a 2-on-1, but like I said, our kings are on this side of the board. He can try and flag me. It's been a while since I've played a game of bullet, so he could try and flag me. There's a chance. Okay, we're doing this. We're just going to make some moves. We traded the knights. I've got 9 seconds now. Take this with check. He steps over here. We give a check. We go here to attack this. We step over. He's got this. Here. What are you going to do? Push forward? Okay, we take this. Step forward. Go here. We grab this. We're going back. 17 seconds. We take a deep breath. We go here. Check. Take the pawn. Whatever you do, I am going to get you in the end of this. The reason that I'm playing like this is to get rid of this pawn. I don't need another queen. It's easier to just get rid of everything at the end of the game. And so, like, right now in this position, we've got some pawns. I feel much better about checkmating in low time when we just get rid of everything. He's got, like, a check that 2 checks that we'd have to deal with. So we were able to do it. Now, the question is, should I do an analysis? Should I do an analysis? Let's do a very quick one. Very, very quick. Boom. And I could probably change my scene collection. We're going to do this in like under 2 minutes. Push through it. Did we request the computer analysis? Holy crap. 98% accurate. I am a genius. I played a perfect game of chess. 6 average centipawn loss. Holy smokes. That might have been the cleanest game of chess that I've ever played in my life. Okay. I was not confident about it. I definitely played all those moves like I'm not sure. But we crushed it. We crushed it. Holy crap. We're going to do this real quick. And I guess everything that I explained made perfect sense because I won the game and played 98% accurate. Okay, so this is all just mainline computer stuff. Pushing this pawn, whatever, it stays equal. I mean, pushing this pawn is just too weakening. I'm not playing like that. We develop, castle, trade. Knight to the middle, we trade equal. The reason I play like this is, like I said, you get to the end game, and that is where the game is won and lost. All of this stuff did not make really all that much of a difference. Like, we're on move 20. Nothing exciting has happened. Trade. And this is where it starts getting fancy. Jumping forward with the check is slightly better. Whatever, I like this. Bring the king. Jump over here. Step up. Oh, my God. Best move. Okay, best move. He steps in, I step up. My original idea was check, somewhere, take. None of that made any sense because this was covered. So I calculated it wrong, but I was able to get, you know, a little bit of compensation by playing this. We're applying pressure to this pawn and this pawn. So even once I get here, if he captures, I can always just capture back, and I'm not going to straight up lose a pawn. Best move. Second best move. I'm up a clean pawn. I guess this is going to be a problem one way or another. So capturing this makes sense because I'm still going to be able to grab this. If I capture here, he can push, and I'm not going to grab it. Okay, so that makes perfect sense. Like, if I grab this one, this is still an issue. Like, if he tries to defend, I just come back with this fork. Okay. That was my blunder of the game. I was like, which one is more important? I liked grabbing this one because it just seemed like this was still going to be there. But I'll explain it one more time very quickly. If I take this one, He has to defend this, but I can just come back and I'm going to get it. If I take this one, he can push forward, and then all of a sudden I need to switch my eyes on getting this pawn, which is harder to do. So wrong move. He pushes forward. We push forward. We step over. Best move. I realize I'm losing this pawn, but I've got a 3-on-2. Like I had mentioned, he's got a 3-on-2, but it is not as good as mine because the kings are here. So at some point, like, my king can stop your last pawn. Does that make sense? So, like, nobody's over here to deal with this. The knight is over here and the king is over here. So my 3-on-2 is much more effective because I can push, make this pass pawn, and then all of a sudden, it's still a draw. How is he supposed to stop this? He played the wrong move. This. You block. We go here. You lock it down like that. Okay, so that sucks, and I'm still probably going to win this. Because I'm going to figure out how to get in. I can get this fork. I'm going to figure this out. 3-on-1, but I got my king and my knight. You're stuck over here. And if you make 2 moves, I make a queen. So basically, your king has to go all the way over here. Actually getting a draw from this position for our opponent, that would be very difficult. That would be very, very difficult. So the computer says right here that it's equal. I disagree. That was going to be very hard to play. And then we just... You know what I mean? We just push. We get the queen. We give a check. We give a check. We take. And then I just was in low time here. So something you want to do when you're in super low time is, like, give the checks. This is a forcible way to trade the knights. A forcing way to trade the knights. And then I just gave some checks. We're making just some moves to gain time. I do have a little bit of increment. We get in here and then just make things simple. Get behind the pass pawn. If he blocks it, just give it away. If he doesn't block it, cool, you make a queen or a rook. If he blocks it, you give it away. And if he does not take it, it's turning into a queen with check. So, like, say he tries to, like, run here, then I just make a queen and it's with check. So that was amazing. Thank you so much for watching my video. If you learned anything or simply enjoyed hanging out with me, please subscribe. I'm on a mission to actually grow this channel. And so I was traveling for like 25 days. I didn't even talk about my trip or anything. I just got back from Thailand. That's why I look homeless. I didn't shave for a month. So please subscribe. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much. Bye, and get out of here. Oh, hello, and welcome back, and thank you so much for clicking on my video. In today's episode, what we're going to be doing is destroying this 1816 with the Caro-Kann, and so hopefully we hop right into a main line that I can explain to you quite well. Well, we have the advance, the exchange. Often when people spend a while thinking about it, they go for the push. Or we go for the straight up main line. This is actually called the Caro-Kann main line. This is the Alien Gambit, but this is the Tart to Cower. So this is a structure that I am very familiar with and I love, and I can explain to you the ins and outs of what to do, at least with the black pieces. So right now that he has developed the knight, it is a prime opportunity to pin the knight. However, castling before pinning pieces is the priority. So what we're going to do is we're going to develop this bishop to the most, not the most active square. This would be the most active square, but it would get simply repelled by this pawn. So that's why we're putting it here. Next, we're going to castle and be putting the rook onto the same file as the king. Most likely he will castle as well. But we're still going to put the rook here because this is the open file in the position, and rooks belong on open files. And so this move right here it signifies that he wants to strengthen the center, which is never a bad move. He's defending the pawn. But in the future, my knight is going to have a journey to the square that can be repelled by this pawn. Does that make sense? So my knight in the future is going to go like this. And we're playing with 3-second increment, and I am quite comfortable with my rapid playing skills, or my bullet playing skills. Speaking of that, let's check our friend from Argentina. And if you look, if we take a gander, we step back, and we're really praying for the pawn cube structure is what we're going for. But dude doesn't play bullet, and we are in a 5-minute game of chess. So at some point, we're both going to have 1 minute, unless I get checkmated very early on. And it looks like he plays a lot of variants, some anti-chess stuff going on. I would highly recommend never playing any of those ever, because chess is hard enough as it is. So there's no need to change the rules and play a harder, different variant. It doesn't make any sense. Why would you, other than chess 960, go ahead and play that, and then maybe some horde just for fun. But I have had this exact structure in a previous game, maybe even my previous video. And so bringing the knight back here to be a defensive piece is not such a terrible idea, but I really do like my prompt idea of just trying to bring my knight to one of these squares in the middle. Obviously, we can't bring it here right now. The drawback of this is my queen can no longer get out to this square, but seeing as that he pushed his pawn, so this pawn is now defended, my queen out here attacking pawns that are defended is not really a great use of my queen. We're going to step in, and we're doing a few things now. We're attacking this pawn and we're attacking this bishop. So he kind of has to make a stepping back move, or he has to just attack me, then I take, and he gets strong center, but he loses the bishop for the knight, and actually he can't do that because I will grab the pawn. So right now I think he has to step back, and that's just kind of uncomfortable. I can take a step forward right now and kind of, ooh, I could jump like this. This might force, because we're attacking this and we're attacking this bishop. He could step back further, but then we're really causing, my knight is making both of his bishops step back, and I just feel, sorry, you see that rattling? I'm on a new desk, and it's a $20 desk from Amazon, so it kind of sucks, but I'm in a temporary home for like 3 months because the house that I live in is getting renovated, if you wanted to know what's going on in my life. So I'm moving houses, I started a new job, I don't have a girlfriend. Look at this sunburn, absolutely jacked, but this sunburn, I'm in a little swivel chair. Bro, the sunburn, you see that? It looks, that's the tank top. That is the tank top that I was wearing previously. And so, what's going on in this position right now? Well, this is being attacked. If we take, the queen comes up and defends the knight. Or I can step forward and just straight up attack the knight. Also, I don't like that my queen is the one defending this rook. Also, there are sort of, no, it doesn't work. I was thinking I can take here with check, and if he steps over with the queen, then this is hanging, but he can just step back with the knight, but is making his knight step back. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I like the idea of just attacking the knight. Probably what's going to happen is we're going to get the pawn cube structure, and then we can all cheer and feel happy and warm and fuzzy on the inside because we get to have a pawn cube in the position. And now I like that my rooks are looking at each other. So if this rook trade takes place, then my least active piece all of a sudden will get nice and active here on the E8 square, looking down the open file. So probably it's in both of our best interest to kind of just leave the position as is. If he takes, I actually played a quite interesting structure earlier where his queen ended up over here on B3, which was applying pressure to my F2, F7. Okay, so we're going to get the little pawn cube, and we all get to feel happy and warm and fuzzy. Look at that. Pawn cube. Queen attacked. Queen attacked. But I can trade the rooks in a way that makes his knight step back. Then I can get active. So I think we're going to go for this. It doesn't immediately do anything, but having, but having like my queen on these diagonals seems promising. I believe that we can just step forward. I mean, if he hits us, we can step forward again. So we're just trying to get super active with the queen right now. We got the diagonal by his king, and I have this beautiful pawn cube. Look how safe and happy my king is. Not only do I have a luft, but it becomes increasingly difficult for our opponent to like do any action on this open file because I have so many squares defended by my pawns, my beautiful pawn cube. Okay, bishop is attacked. Stepping all the way back to like stay active on this diagonal seems to make sense. I could also rush. Let's play a little bit faster. Actually, I don't really need to play faster because we have the same amount of time. And it's early in the morning because this guy's from Argentina. Is it? No, I'm thinking about the seasons. I've been to Argentina before, and one really trippy thing is, what do I do with my queen? I would love to like stay active, but it looks like I'm gonna have to take a little bit of a step back. I can't step over because of the knight. I can't step forward because of the knight. I can't step forward because of the queen. So this maintains touching this. So he could push and I take, and he takes and I take, and he gets a pawn there, but then I attack it, then he defends it. I can throw in this check. He probably steps over. And my king is actually quite far away from being able to do any damage. This doesn't work because the rook comes over. But I step over, the rook comes over. I step here. He takes with check, I step up. Then he just defends checkmate by moving anywhere, and it's not even checkmate, he can still run away. So I like the idea of just stepping over and attacking in this square. He can defend it by just moving the knight somewhere, so that now that this was never occupied, but moving the knight would make sense to just defend this with the queen laterally and have like a defensive, beautiful queen. But I'm going to play on my opponent's weakness because now we both have under 3 minutes, soon to be under 2 minutes, and we still have queens and rooks and bishops and knights and a whole heckin' lot of pawns. So I sure hope that he knows what he's doing in these little bit of a time crunch situation. If nothing happens, I'm ready to just step into the position and attack these pawns. That is the immediate idea. Like, I'm threatening this, yes. But if he doesn't move the knight, his queen can't occupy the square, and defending these pawns will become tricky. So moving this walks into this check. But he defends it with the queen, then I take, then he steps back, then I bring my rook to the open file. He steps up with the king. Probably I attack this pawn. He could just push. I take. No, he couldn't. No, he couldn't. No, he couldn't. There would be a check at the end of all of that. Okay, so he does play this. I think everything that I just calculated seems to make sense. I step in. He steps over. I take. He takes with the king or the knight. Either way, I'm attacking this pawn. He could shut the door like this, but then we're not so worried about this pawn structure. So I think we're going with this. He has to cover. He has to cover. Then I step over. What do? I think time is everything, and stepping active into the position seems to be real smart. Attacking the knight, if he takes, I step in. He could just attack and defend. I can bring my queen back to attack the knight. Here, I step over. I think just activating my least active piece makes the most amount of sense here. Like, the queen is defended, so I'm not super worried about my my bishop getting dislodged. My rook is undefended, my bishop is undefended. I mean, but so is his rook and his knight, so who is really winning? I'm winning, because I play more bullet. Look at my bullet score. Look at his bullet score. The sooner you realize that every game of chess, most likely, it turns into a game of bullet. I mean, okay, why did I even think about that? Obviously, I have to take this piece. Now, activity is everything. I can also step back. Then he's got to do something. What's he going to do? I step back and attack the knight. If he defends, okay, so this, he has to go back somewhere. And whatever he does, I think I just get active. So we're going to step over here, attack the knight. We have two things attacking it. I could have just taken and let him take in, and then been super active with my rook and really happy. But I think he could have just pushed a pawn and stepped over and kicked me out of the position, is the reason we're not going for that. But right now, if he goes for this, we hit him with a very simple fork, which is just losing on the spot. If he steps over here, we still hit him with that same fork, and he has to step back over here, and then, I mean, I think it just gets spicy. Really what we're trying to do is make this young man step back with the knight with 37 clocks. The clock turns red. And we have to play this. I mean, there's just no other move that I feel like playing. Okay, that doesn't work. None of this cool stuff works. We're definitely applying pressure. I would love to be able to attack this pawn. How can we do that? I mean, if I go here, he just takes and I take. Then we're attacking this. He steps up and defends it. I give him a check. He steps in defending everything. What if I just start bringing the king? He's kind of frozen. He can't move the knight literally anywhere. I can step forward like this. If I take like this and he takes, then I'm forking these two pieces. We're attacking this. He has to take. Now we're getting in this low time, but I'm attacking this and this. And the open file is covered by my king, so if his rook comes over, Sometimes you just got to know when to trade into a winning endgame. And my rook is active. Okay, so we're going to have to grab this pawn. He's going to step up, but then we're going to reoccupy this open file. Maybe I should have attacked this pawn. That actually probably would have made a lot more sense. But his rook is stuck, passive. We can do a few different things here. We can go here and force this and get behind it. I like this. If he steps forward, I mean, I grab it. So he's kind of got to push, right? And then I take. Okay, he wants to play like this. Probably time to get active with the king. I am winning in this endgame. Okay, he wants to attack my rook. There's nowhere else to put it, so I'm just going to put it here. This is going to happen, but we're chilling. We take. Take. I like this. If he pushes a check, we step back, and we're going to be able to attack this pawn again. But we're really stepping forward is the idea, and he doesn't have the greatest way to bring his king to defend this pawn, and now this pawn, I promise you, is not making it to the promised land. So that undefended the pawn. He wants to go for this check, but we're going to defend with the rook to defend this pawn. If he trades, he loses, so he's pretty much got to skedaddle out of the position. That's all there is to it. And oh by golly, I might give this check. He steps in, I can grab this pawn. He gives this check. How many pawns do you really need? Grab, check, here. I shouldn't have spent that much time thinking about it. He can give this check, but I step up, and then he does not have another check, and I'm defending this. Okay, he does have that check. We're stepping here. We're going to be alright. Don't worry about it. We're stepping forward. Grabbing this. Grab some pawns, bro. Simplify up this endgame for me. We're going to just grab this. You grab that. I'm going to push this. You can grab this. Here. Here, here, here. Jesus. We push the pass pawn, right? We just let him grab this. God damn it. We push this. Grab this. We push this. We go here. Oh my god, now he starts pushing this. We step up. We step here. Here, here, here. I'm not really sure, bro. He's gonna cover this. I so threw this away to a draw, by the way. But I think I'm doing alright. He put his king in the way of that. It gave me time. I'm going to try and wiggle like this. Because if I can get my king here, I push. Here, here. I think he just blundered the game right here. He gave me too much time. So I was completely winning, but I think he was a little bit frazzled. You can give this check, but I step up, and then you're out of checks. So we're going to make this queen. Give this check. You can push this pawn, but then it is checkmate, my friend. Heavy sigh of relief. I almost threw that away to a draw. I'm actually fairly certain that maybe I did. How did I lose like 5 pawns so that I could grab however many? So right here, 6 pawns versus 4. So how did I trade down into an equal pawn endgame? Your answer is as good as mine. I guess I'm not that good at chess, but I won the game, so I guess we had it under control. I'm fairly certain that it was a draw. We trade off his last pawn here. We give a check and he steps forward, and we start pushing, or just go for this. And then I'm the only one left with a pawn, but actually stopping it becomes hard because your king is so far away. So I think just forcing this move right here wins on the spot. Or draws on the spot. Impossible for me to say, I'm not that good at chess. Let's check it out with the computer real quick, and I will see you over there. And here we are in the analysis, and that was not my most accurate game of chess that I've ever played, but oh boy did we get her done. And so check out this graph. Now, I just want to highlight something for you, you fine ladies and gentlemen, is the opening. Completely equal the entire time. The middle game, a little bit of action happened, but literally everything that was important happened in the end game, and all the way down here. Check it out. I have 3 blunders. Look where they happened in the end game. My opponent, 2 blunders. Look where they happened. All the way down here on move 64, I threw it away to a draw. And that is why in the video I was definitely stressing out, because I had a crushing position, and then I threw it away to a draw, and I knew it, and that was my face trying to process that information, that I'm crushing, and then all of a sudden I'm getting a draw, and I'm fighting not to lose my pawn. And so that's what happened. So we played the Caro-Kann mainline variation. When they capture like this and you take back with the pawn, it's called the Tartakower variation, where your ideas of development are quite simple, and I will explain them to you. You develop the bishop here because it's the most active square. You don't want to block your king in this way, and if you go here, you just get hit. Next, you want a castle. Get your king safe. Next, you put your rook on the open file in the position. Then, you either pin the knight or put your bishop here. It's kind of interchangeable. This move is actually better, but if you want to slightly deviate from the main line, you play this move, pinning the knight. And it's not really pinned because, yes, there's a bishop there. Then, what you need to do is, for one, we get attacked, so we're just going to step back, no problem. And we want to complete the prophecy of the knight zigzag to the center of the board, where you can make 1, 2, 3 moves to get to the center of the board, and he can make 1 pawn move to kick you out of it. So it really kind of sucks. And once your knight is here, you can't jump back here, or when the pawn comes in to attack it, because you can just push this pawn and fork your 2 pieces here. So once your knight gets here and this pawn push comes in, it gets a little bit annoying with your knight. You have to like step back to one of these squares, and it's not so great, but you want your knight in the middle of the board. So let's not go into too much detail about all of this. And by golly, we got my knight to the middle of the board by way of zigzag. And so now my knight is actually doing some stuff. We're attacking this pawn, we're attacking the bishop. You can't just kick me out because I'll take, and I'll grab this pawn. So you have to step back with the bishop. So my knight made you step back. Now here, I miss kind of a more or less simple tactic. I can come over here with the simple idea of attacking this rook, and the rook has no squares that he can go to that are not being attacked. Furthermore, if my bishop gets here, I'm attacking this pawn twice. So I could get in, take, and then get in with this fork. So this obscure bishop move is actually the best move for an idea that I just simply did not see. In lieu of that, I step over here with my knight, where I am essentially guaranteeing you trading a knight for... I'm trading a knight for your bishop. If you take like this, then that's what I want. Or you leave this guy here, and I just simply take your bishop, or you step back. So I'm either getting a bishop for my knight, or making another bishop take a stepping back move. And I already made this one step back, so if this one also steps back, I feel like my knight is just a little bit OP. So, he takes, I take. Mission accomplished. I got rid of my knight for a light square bishop. I have the bishop pair. I feel quite comfortable about the position. We take this time to get active with my queen, trade, and now we got a beautiful pawn cube, so everybody's smile and feel nice and warm and cozy inside because we got the pawn cube and mission accomplished. He attacks my queen, but I throw in this check because it yet again makes one of his pieces step back. He can't take with the queen or I'll win the knight. So he has to step back with the knight. That is why I did that move, and yet again the knight steps back. All of his pieces are stepping back in this game. But now, I guess it's my turn to step back because he attacks my bishop, kaboom, so I step back. Then he attacks my queen. I step back. He takes a little step forward, and I come over here with nasty ideas of this check that is covered because the knight is blocking the view of his queen to this square. And if I get in with this check, I'm winning this pawn. The king gets very weak. It's just, you're falling apart. You can't let that happen. It is a -2 position, and I get the check. He steps over. I bring my last undeveloped piece. Now my rook is active. He takes, I take, and then I step back attacking this guy. You can't really defend it in any meaningful way. Stepping over is a terrible idea. So you essentially have to move the knight. Well, you can't go forward, really, none of your going forward squares work. Let's look at that. If you go here, you walk into this fork, so you would just lose the knight. So yet again, the knight has to step back. Oh my goodness. And with tempo, you step back and I step in. Now I'm in your position, bro. Checking on your king. Now, turn the engine on. I want to show you guys. I wasn't cheating, I promise. Best move in the position. Stepping over with the king. Because I want my rook to do some damage, and we're afraid of his rook getting to the open file and getting into the position. If this happens, if that check happens and I step up over here and he gets this, he's basically just going to eat all of my pawns. And so that is why stepping over with the king is the best move. He pushes the pawn on the side of the board so that he can do something with the rook, so his rook doesn't have to stay passive defending this. I guess, yes, I could have just gotten behind this pawn, and that would have worked just as well. But now I trade the bishop for the knight for the specific reason of after he takes, I'm guaranteed to win a pawn. I'm attacking 2 pawns. You can only defend 1, and pushing them doesn't work because I'll just take the pawns behind them. Not this one because it's defended, but you get the idea. So I grab a pawn, back to the open file. I got scared of taking this pawn because I didn't want his rook to get in. It never would have happened because all of the squares are taken and attacked by my pieces, but it is what it is. I step up. Sorry, my nose is super itchy. There's cats in this house, and I guess I'm allergic to cats. So, sorry about that. Now, he's got a passed pawn, but it's not a good passed pawn. It's a liability passed pawn because it's right next to 2 pieces that want to kill it. So, I'm very quick to just grab that pawn. Right now it's a check. It looks like if I step up, I'm going to lose something, but I can just defend X-ray style with my rook. He steps up, I hit him with a check, I grab a pawn, he comes in with a check, I'm stepping up, I grab a pawn, he grabs a pawn, I grab a pawn, he grabs a pawn, I push a pawn, he grabs a pawn, and this is the most important part of the position. What I needed to play was check, down, another X-ray check where I'm defending my pawn through the king. Then my passed pawn becomes an issue because this passed pawn can no longer push, plus your king is really far away, plus this pawn can't push because I have pawns in the way of it. Instead, the way I did it is I lose both of my pawns for no reason, and now it's just passed pawn versus passed pawn. Yes, mine is closer, but still it doesn't really matter because he's never going to make it because I just don't have enough stuff to watch this pawn and my king. If my king ever gets to these squares to support the promotion square, you can just check me, and I'm either stepping in the way of the pawn or away from the pawn where you'll just attack it again. And so none of it's going to ever work. But, like I said, I'm on the comfortable side of the draw, where our opponent is on the scary and hard to play side of the draw because he's been losing for the past 40 moves, and all of a sudden 64 moves, and 51 moves. Sorry, I can't get anything right. And so we shuffle around, and I hide here so that this check isn't an option. I'm hiding behind the enemy's king, and then I have a new idea. Put my rook here so I can bring my king behind the rook. It still doesn't even work because it works here because I can just straight up promote and make a queen, and there's no check here. I would just take the rook. This doesn't work because once I make the queen, he can hit me with a check. I step out. He wins the queen. I'll show you. Boom, 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 and then straight up, this rook is just not stopping this pawn. I'm trading this rook for this pawn at some point, and that's all there is to it. But this idea kind of makes sense, hiding here so this check doesn't happen. I like the idea. You know, it's not the worst idea in the world. But here we give a check. He defends it with a pawn, but unfortunately that is being attacked by the 2 most powerful pieces on the board, and it's mate 1. So take it with a grain of salt or whatever. Please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. It's been a pleasure playing chess for you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Oh, hello, and welcome back, and thank you so much for clicking on my video. In today's episode, what we're going to be doing is an opening masterclass of the exchange variation Caro Kann. Boom, we have it.